I was only going up 8th Street, up 8th and Mill.
He didn't tell me he
I know,
wasn't.
I couldn't see who was driving, I just saw,
We're
heard
lucky
it,
to
I saw the
have-
door,
we
and I
got
thought, I'll
four
text
quorum.
Shelby in case it's something important.
We have quorum.
I don't want you to get DOT trouble.
Okay. Kate never called me.
She said
Well, I knew we
Keith
were having
never
two
called.
gone, but
Yeah, I didn't know about Keith.
I knew,
Here he is.
Lori.
Okay.
There's Keith. Lori might not be here, but I didn't.
He's going to use phone. Yeah.
You got 9 seconds.
Sorry, Keith.
now,
Here we go.
calls back to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings, Bikeman,
Present.
Racky, Price,
Present.
Barons,
Here.
Ron. Here.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on July 10th.
Move to approve regular minutes, July 10th, 2023 is written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0. Next, we have the special meeting on July 12th.
Move to approve minutes, special meeting, July 12th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0. Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Okay. Move on to business discussion,
No,
or,
Crown
oh, no, we
Overs
do
are
have it,
public.
that's right, we do have crown overs.
Okay.
Okay, so we wanted to come to you guys today, basically talk about the property again, talk about everything, kind of go over everything. The main topic I want to talk about is the kind of the minutes not matching the meeting that we attended. What was discussed and what was agreed upon didn't quite match the minutes themselves. We were under a completely different understanding than what the minutes would read and what I guess you guys were thinking we were talking about. You know, and we're not here to badger anybody. We're not here to do any of that. We just want to talk about it. All the council members in here represent us in some way because we are part of property on all 4 wards or all wards. So, you know, I understand there's probably still a nuisance on the property. We're still working on it. I mean, we've laid rock, we've done a lot of different things. The main thing on the meeting is we did not agree to have all the vehicles removed by June 10th. I mean, we've got more vehicles on there than the 3 that were listed on the auction on June 10th. And we said that Skylar would be in town in July to take care of his stuff. That wasn't listed on the minutes at all. I mean, that was set in stone. We had already planned in July to help
He
get
took care of most of his stuff.
He did. He did take
Yeah.
care of two things. He's got 2 left: the Beetle and that red pickup. He's supposed to be hauling the Beetle to North Carolina the next time he's in town. No date on that yet, but he's wanting to get it out of there. I know, and he's wanting to get the motor pulled out of the red truck and scrap the rest of it. That's what he's waiting on. He's busy. He's got a house in full swing out there in North Carolina. He's got a lot of stuff going, and so do we. Also, the other thing on the minutes, it said 1107. We are 1109 Pony Express Highway, not 1107. But that was the main thing I really want to discuss on that. There's a couple other things like that didn't make sense when we were doing research, like the city code states that they can be tarped, but it can't resolve a nuisance. That was kind of a weird, that's kind of worded weird. I didn't quite understand that. Why it would say you could tarp it and make it look ugly with a tarp, but it wouldn't resolve an ordinance anyways. The tarp, in my opinion, is uglier than a vehicle. I mean, let's see. And then the other main thing would be the taping on the door, on the painted door. We were just, tape the resolutions on there, that's fine. All the pictures was kind of overkill, and then, it removed, packing tape was kind of a weird thing. Maybe, Scotch tape or something, or like the painter's tape wouldn't have removed the paint, but the packing tape removed all the paint of where he had that taped. And you got pictures of it too. I know the door doesn't look the best, but it still caused damage to the door no matter what was already there. So what we're working on now, you wanna move on or?
I'd just
ahead.
like to go back to that, just a little bit. So when that all evolved, that situation, I came down to the city building, to file a complaint, and I was informed that you guys don't have a complaint form at all.
You can do it online.
What?
I mean,
We just told you to tell us. We don't have a form for you to write it on. Yeah. So we
Okay.
did take your complaint, and I asked you to type it up, which you did if you wanted to put it in
Right.
in the meeting. So, however,
I
your
mean,
words
in
you wanted
practice,
them to
with
be.
me being in sheriff's department, I think that's very necessary to have a form that somebody can walk in off the street. In my opinion, I mean, not everybody in this town, they probably should have access to the internet, but doing it online, we should still have a physical form, in my opinion. I mean, I just think that should be done. But going back to the tape, I asked if there's what can we do about that? I mean, we went down there today just to peek at things, and we noticed somebody did wipe the door down. Who did that? I don't know. But somebody did wipe the door down, maybe to see if it was tape residue, but it's not.
where they went back down there, did they? I'm aware of it.
So,
We did compare it to the photos, it's cleaner than what it was. So somebody wiped it off, I've been just I don't know. We didn't quite understand that, but we're not sure.
what can
And
we
it's
do?
not a big deal at all, it's just one of those on principle type things that,
It just didn't sit easy with us, like, it was kind of disrespectful almost.
Well, we
When we
tape
say
them
that.
after, I mean, you get notified and it's.
Right,
if you
absolutely.
Take care of, then we have to tape it. I mean,
Right,
We have to
tape-
secure it so that you can't say that you didn't.
Right, tape the
receive it.
resolutions, which all the resolutions would have fit
Yeah.
on that. The pictures,
No, we do the pictures too, because if we don't send out the pictures, then the first thing that happens is they call here and say, what am I supposed to, move,
okay.
usually, so they
we
want
talked to
pictures.
Will, and Will said he's never seen that before, the pictures.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know they get mailed out, because when I got one, it had pictures with it.
Well, they get
So-
mailed, yeah, but the taping on them. Was there any reason that the minutes didn't match? I just kinda wanna hear from you guys why.
I don't know, the
Why
minutes
it
are
was all
just-
different
The minutes
like
are
that.
generally just a summary of the conversation, they're not a word for word.
Yeah, but there was some stuff, I mean, I didn't.
Summary.
know if you, but-
Summary is, it was opposite of what really happened, though. I mean,
I'd have to go back and look, but my memory of the conversation was that you said some of the vehicles were yours, some of the vehicles were not. You had an auction coming up, and then after you had the auction, then most of that stuff would go. Is how I remembered the conversation going.
Okay.
And everybody went, okay, we'll give you time, you've got an auction, it's gonna get taken care of.
All
That's
right.
kind of
That's what I
what we
understood
thought.
too.
That's how I understood it.
okay.
Well, I understood at the last meeting that all the remaining vehicles were not the dealerships. I mean, I think I
that's
specifically.
the impression we were
They were.
under, but most of
And
them were.
Because if you also talk about the meeting where they were asked to bring us a list of the cars that belonged to them and what did not.
That's our fault for not getting that
And
done.
and I
But-
kind of talked to Will about the whole list thing, is because we move vehicles in and out of there quite often. I know a couple vehicles have stayed there longer than others, but if I get a list, I'm not gonna bring it down every week when I change things out, if I bring something to the shop, something like that.
So if it's a secondary location, is it,
It-
through the state?
So we are working on that. I mean, we are.
So you
in
have
the
to have an
process-
office and you have to have a sign at a secondary location?
No, you do not. Not at a secondary location, no.
They call it a supplementary location.
Because I had a dealership for 25 years, and that's the way it was
You have
then.
to have it for your main location. You do not have to have it for your supplementary location.
It's the same,
It's a $35 fee.
it is the same thing Honeyman's do for their
But
location in
The
county.
thing is,
Whoa.
yeah,
Well, that's different, that's different.
Oh, is it?
So, okay,
my bad.
so just to bring it back, you're using it for your dealership, right?
We're using it as storage.
Right now.
Okay, so that, right now, you're not authorized to use for your dealership.
It's not zoned for that.
Well, it is, they have to request to use it as that. And they have to go through that, the owner of the property has to go through that process. So right now, you are not allowed to use that lot according to our regulations, like you're using it right now.
And we know that, we're in the process of it, that's why we're coming here again also, is to basically let you know we're in that process. I mean, we're working on it, we're gonna try to get there. It shouldn't take too terribly long, but I don't want any hard feelings on this either. You know, we're trying to run a business best we can. We're out of space, we still share our lot with Danes and stuff. I mean, we've got a lot of vehicles out there. We're pushing a lot of inventory because we have to stay afloat. I mean, that's just the way it is. The more inventory we get, the better things are for us, but it also comes with a lot of, headache also.
Yeah. You have to realize too, I mean, for years when we had the other dealership downtown, there was a lot of concern and a lot of complaints about the overflow and satellite lots that they had around their dealership for years. Now, they're gone. I'm not sure if there would be a lot of support to basically end up with that same kind of an eyesore situation right on Broadway.
I
is my
think,
concern. And the vehicles that you're having there are not nice vehicles, in my opinion. They're not, I would say they're ones that are either broken down or need repairs. They're not a high-value vehicle. Maybe they're ones you got upside down on or whatever needs, or you need parts
Right.
off of them.
That's why they were on
But they're-
auction.
Yeah, so I don't,
but they didn't auction all of them.
only
No,
three
and
of
we
them.
never stated that we were gonna auction them
That's
all.
the way it sounded to everybody.
You might have
me.
to go back and look, because I
Said 3.
said
I
3,
thought
and
they were gonna
held
have an
up
auction to
3.
free up space to move stuff
Right.
back to the primary lot, was how I
You'll just have to
understood
go
it.
back and watch the video, because, I mean, it's the video proof. I mean, facts are facts, unfortunately.
All that said, I mean, obviously they're fairly new business. How long have you been in business?
A year and a half.
Year and
Well,
a
it'll
half.
be two years in
So,
September.
There's gonna be a learning curve, but it's a going enterprise. And as far as the look of it, I mean, I see you've got rock.
Yep.
And the vehicles are lined up. I mean, I know the appearance is in the eye of the beholder, but you have to put on some pretty narrow blinders to not notice that there's piles of this and piles of that and properties right around it. That
Which we're trying to,
I know, but
under
I mean,
control.
but when a business is struggling to, keep afloat and grow, to me, that's a little bit different than somebody who's got a trailer full of trash by their deck. Or even us, we have pallets of bricks, cattywampus, all in the right of way along that salt Quonset.
if you open up that Pandora's box though, then does that mean any business can just park whatever, how can I send a notice, say
No.
to
I
to a body
agree.
shop that they have to move any of their vehicles,
No, I agree
even if
that
they
they need to
sit there
get
for
right with
years?
the regulations, and they're working on that. I'm just saying in the broad strokes, to me, this is a little bit of a different deal than just somebody who's making a mess.
I don't know if you should bend the rules. I mean, if we're gonna pick on just an individual that has a car, then I don't know why just because you're a business that you should get a pass on that.
But I think
I mean,
I guess here's the reason. The reason is because we tax businesses differently. Businesses have a lot more expenses and things that go into them running their enterprise than the average Joe. So they should
but
there's a trade-off to that.
if I was an individual, I would feel that maybe there was a double standard, especially if
Well,
I was
businesses
poor
feel like
and it was
there's
a
a double
junky
standard.
car. I would be like, I'm getting picked on, and yet there's a situation where they got 10 of them and they're being allowed to do it. I'm just
There's
saying.
a lot of things businesses got to do that individuals don't, because businesses create revenue for the city and do things for the city that individuals don't. And I'm not denigrating individuals. I'm saying businesses get a lot put on them. And the trade-off of that is when it's a new business, we can show some grace and let them and work with them on it. I'm just saying I don't think we should throw the full weight and force of the city of Marysville at this enterprise. That's all I'm saying. I understand. I'm not saying we make a permanent exception. If there were a bunch of cars flipped on their hoods and, people are cutting down there, torching cats off or something, it'd be different, but they're in a row, they're being kept, the weeds are being kept down.
So they've got the weeds down,
Yeah.
they've got it rocked over,
I don't-
It's all been sprayed. I mean, everything's been sprayed down. We put 3 loads of number 3 rock. We've got an additional 3 loads of number 2 rock coming in to get it a little bit less rough down there.
I mean, if you look at the previous years of that property, if you go back, I mean, I truly believe that we've done so much better for it. That building was falling apart.
It's been an eyesore for a long time.
Yeah, and I think just, the small things that we've done, yes, there's cars on it, but man,
It's not like we're gonna have 20, 30 cars on it either. I mean, we're
cars that are there, what's their current status?
most of them are waiting to be tore down for parts and stuff. I just hired a part-time mechanic to help us alleviate a little bit of weight. We've been so backed up. We're in a little bit of everything. We work on a little bit of everything. We do a little bit of everything. We have been just, slam packed for months. So I just hired a part-time mechanic. He's coming in to help try to get things moving a little bit quicker. I know there's a Suburban. I'm gonna pull the motor out, scrap the rest of it.
it does run though.
Yeah,
So
it
like
runs and moves
everything,
and everything.
everything in that line will run. It will start up and run. Everything in the line will.
Okay.
The pickup that sits on the north side of the building,
That's my personal truck. I don't have anywhere to go with it right now. I'm still waiting to see
can
where
you
I
put
go.
it behind the building?
I can. The other, and the rear brakes are locked up on it right now, and I'm trying to get it.
Can it go behind the
the
building?
Yeah, it can go behind the building, and we've been waiting for probably 8 months for this trailer to move from an oil company, so we're trying to get it out of there, and then that would eventually get back there. So, we're trying to clean up. I want to work with you guys. I want to get this figured out. I don't want this to be a battle by any means.
How much time do you need?
I don't know how long it's gonna take to get the, use upon permitted, completely done. But,
How about,
I don't know,
90
but
days and
that's
we
what I'm trying to
revisit it?
work on.
And we missed the cutoff Will said Monday was the cutoff and we didn't have the paper signed for that use upon
We're
permitted.
waiting on, Skylar's trying to work with us
That's
on
another
that.
month.
so that's why I said, let's do 90 days and see where they're at. That's what we've done with everybody else that's made
Progress.
progress. Let's do 90 days.
And they have made progress.
And
The-
it's
the
not
tall
like they
weeds are
can't, it's
down.
not like we won't extend it. I'm not saying we will, I'm not saying we won't, but we can't extend
You
it.
could
if they come in.
re-examine it,
Re-examine
the facts
it.
of the case
Yeah,
at the
90
time.
days gives us
Will
an idea.
revolving vehicles or the same vehicles that are there, because that's what I'm gonna get asked.
Just,
From the guys, so they know they're to take pictures.
try and keep it the same vehicles that are there. For
That's
right
what I
now.
need to know.
Okay.
Well,
Can we pull?
this weekend we
Okay.
had a couple we were getting ready to get pulled out of there.
Okay.
So, there's,
If you can get them out.
Yeah.
there's a
Just don't
Tahoe
add to
that
it.
Yeah.
You can avoid it.
he's gonna work
Right.
on Saturday. We're trying
What-
to get it.
What I'm saying is don't bring in 5 more different ones,
Right.
because that's gonna create problems.
Darn it. No, I'm
And
kidding.
it's not us, it's just, it's one of them things that's gonna be asked. I have no problem doing the 90 days, seeing where they can get through the zoning stuff and all that.
Got a
Yeah,
motion?
I had 3 vehicls that were dead this week that we got running and getting
Okay.
back out on the lot, so.
I'll make the motion to give them 90 days extension.
Second.
There you go.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
aye.
5-1.
Okay, so the request, what do we call it? Why am I forgetting what it is?
Use permitted.
upon
Use
review.
permitted upon review, that's a decision. It's a yes or a no.
Yep.
So if they tell you no,
We'll go to
There's no,
try to get it zoned
Yeah, no,
C3.
if they say no, there's not really a lot you can do.
We'll try to figure something out, or, we'll put a
Let's
fence
get
up
there
or do
one
something
hurdle at a
different.
time.
right.
Yeah,
So
we'd like to
just,
see what
just
we're at.
letting the council know, that's the process. They could say yes and go through the process and then it's okay, but they could also say no. So, that's also a possibility.
There's not a whole lot there other than commercial, business going on. There's one house back behind, but it's, it's in shambles anyways. So,
Yeah, but there's actually somebody living there.
yeah. I
And
know. They
they're
just
buying
moved
it and
in.
fixing it up too, so that's the reason that it's one of them.
Might get a couple trailers back there, but you never know. But, alrighty. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to business and discussion. First, we have the interlocal agreement with John Unger. John?
Mayor, members of the council, as you know, we are still pursuing other alternatives for the jail and other options. One of the options that we're pursuing right now, as indicated in the letter that you received from us, is pursuing a sales tax. And in order to expedite that process, the option is to go to the cities and get these interlocal agreements in place, or go to the legislature, which would mean waiting until next January and going to the legislature and putting us a year down the road before we could pursue that option if that is the alternative that we choose to go with. So right now, we're just trying to get these interlocal agreements in place, so if that is the alternative that we go with, they're in place and we can move forward and put that on the ballot this November on the election. So if you've got any questions,
What'd you say the time frame was? Like, if you're asking the city for, approval on an interlocal agreement, by what date do you need a decision by?
we would need the decision by mid-August, so we
Mid-August.
could get everything starting to roll by the end of August.
Okay. So that would mean, ideally, at the next council meeting,
Yeah,
the
either,
14th.
if not tonight, by the next council meeting, we would need that decision. Thank you. And basically, the interlocal agreement is just, that would allow us to keep all the proceeds from that sales tax that goes on the ballot for the purpose of the jail.
Why are you trying to do sales tax and not just pay for it out of the county funds or raise the mill levy?
When we had the meetings previously, one of the biggest concerns we heard was property taxes going up. Property taxes have went up, not just due to the mill levy being raised, but due to valuations being raised. Property taxes have gone up quite a bit in the last couple of years. Personally, I would not want my property taxes to go up anymore, and so one of the alternatives we're looking at is a sales tax. It hopefully would bring in more revenue from a larger number of individuals, out of town people as they come through sales tax. I don't want to raise sales tax, but I have talked to a number of property owners, business owners downtown, and previous business owners, and they feel the 0.5% sales tax is a more fair way to go than the property tax, so.
It just bothers me that we're gonna be, if we do another 0.5 cent sales tax, we're gonna be at 9.6, right? Or 9.1.
9.1.
The city
And
would be 9.1.
You can go anyplace else and it's a lot less sales tax than Marshall County if you go to 9.1. I mean, even at 8.6, we're a lot. I mean, Lincoln's only 7.25. So.
Yeah.
My concern is the same as like a few years ago when the hospital approached the county commissioners and they weren't really, it took them a while to convince the commissioners to go ahead and put that on the ballot and the commissioner's argument was that we might need that money, and if it gets passed, there won't be any appetite for raising any further. And that's kind of my concern, is we've discussed before, like the possibility of, maybe a 0.25% or 0.5% sales tax that would be, maybe for sport and rec, for improvements to like ball fields or street repairs and various projects that we need to do. And you get up to 9.1. The other thing that I'd be concerned about is if you get up to 9.1, and I'm assuming the hospital's going to try and re-up their half percent.
I would assume, I haven't spoken with
And
them.
if it would, will that hurt their chances of getting that passed again if we've already passed another raise? It might be that people go, man, I'd like to get it back down, and it might actually hurt any chances they've got of getting that renewed.
Purple sale taxes, it never really goes down.
Well, it rarely goes away once it gets put on, I understand.
It's just gonna go up to 9.9, and then it's gonna break 10.
And I guess the question I have for you, John, is how well do you think that the county has worked with towns and cities in Marshall County to help them grow and bring more business, bring more residents in to help improve, you know, if anything, it's gonna help the overall value of everything. It's gonna be more money going into the county, the city, the school district. How well do you think that the county has worked with, let's just say, the city of Marysville in the past?
Well, being a new commissioner, I guess, I would say that I would plead the fifth on, on some of that, but I do think that there's probably additional opportunities to work with the cities, and I am in favor of working with the cities to do what we can to improve the county for all of us. I'm a member of the Pony Express Museum Board, and I think that the more we do to help our community, the better off we all are as a whole. So I would answer that, I guess, by saying I think it's something that definitely we need to look into, and if there's any opportunities to do that, it's something that we need to look at.
Because historically, I don't think that was the case. And it's a two-way street, too.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street, but historically, that hasn't been the case for a long, long before my days time.
Yeah.
And you gotta think about it, too, with the 8 of us and the mayor, our constituents. Marysville's gonna be your major revenue hub, correct?
It is, yes,
So if you want something like this to go through, we gotta sell it.
yeah.
And it's gonna be a tough sell. I mean, the hospital went 2 or 3 times?
Yes, several times.
Times?
Yep.
So, the only other comment that I've heard from people has been, they really don't know the plan. And it's not the building plan, it's not the, and, you know, honestly, we might have some deficiencies there too, but they really don't know the plan, because when the plan goes from building out on 11th Terrace to all of a sudden some property in town, which makes more sense to me, people are just kind of wondering, are they just trying to go get the money and do what they want to do and not really engage the public?
Right now, the plan is, as you said, we've got the property, the Nordis property, across the street. It's to put basically the same design jail on that property. A lot of the comments that I heard was, well, the 2 main concerns I heard from individuals that came to the meetings and outside of the meetings were property tax going up and the location. So we've tried to address, a lot of individuals felt they wanted to stay where they are. One option they wanted to look at, honestly, was remodeling the current jail. I'm not a fan of that. If you've been through that jail and you're familiar with that jail, I think we could dump $9 or $10 million into that jail, and 5 years down the road, be dumping more money into it. I don't think that's a good option, and I don't want to put the county in a situation where they're spending more money 5 years down the road.
Yeah. You need to do it right once.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts were that even when you were going out behind Subway, you were still close to residences. And now that you're bringing it back in town, I thought that's one reason they wanted it out of there, was they wanted it out of a residential area. And now you're coming back into a residential area. And after the jailbreak and what happened, I thought that was a concern as why you wanted it out there, as opposed to remodeling and staying where you're at, because they wanted it out of a residential area.
One of the biggest reasons, and I wasn't involved with the decision to move it out there, but one of the biggest reasons I heard was because they had room to build out there, and if they wanted to do anything in the future, they would have room to do it in the future, to add another building or to do whatever the case might be. They approached Nordis's, from what I understand, 5 or 6 years ago, and they were not ready to sell at that time. So they did pursue that option, as far as I know, to move it or to keep it in town at that time. The new facility, I can tell you, is going to be a lot more secure than the current facility that we have. It will be a modern, state-of-the-art, up-to-date facility with good security in it. Now, I'm not saying there's never going to be a jailbreak. I would never say nothing's ever going to happen, but I do know they've got, it's all, the doors are all locked unless somebody unlocks them. They're locked. They've got a sally port, they drive in, all the doors are locked until they unlock them to take that prisoner into the cells. So it is going to be a very secure facility.
I'm gonna piggyback on Jeff's comment, because I've heard the same things from my constituents down here in the West End, that, you know, we, the public, don't know what the county wants to do. You know, they flipped it here, they flipped it there. You know, you guys need to make a stand on one point and say, we're gonna build it here, and this is what it's gonna cost, and let the public know exactly what you're doing and what it's gonna cost us.
Well, I guess that you know, and again.
You know, I don't wanna give you an open check.
No, I wouldn't expect an open
I
check.
think why they went about this route is that they listened to what people were saying. I was the oddball that I think out where they were gonna put it by Subway is a great location.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people I talk to, I'm definitely in the minority. So I think that they listen to people and
Oh,
they're
I
trying to
know.
get it back
But-
by the courthouse
Yeah.
for transport of inmates and things like that were a concern and security for the courthouse. So I think they're trying to kind of listen to the people's concerns and change
Thank you.
it to go with
Those
that.
were the
Yeah, I mean,
concerns I
that's-
heard, so
Yep.
that's what we're trying to do is back up, regroup here, and pursue another alternative.
Well, and just to be clear, I think we need improvements
Oh, yeah.
to the jail. We all agree to that.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt everything I've heard that jail
But-
definitely needs to be
But it's gonna be a tough
replaced.
sell.
But-
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the way I look at it, Kevin. If I was willing to push a 50-cent sales tax for the residents of Marysville, Kansas, which people say that it's people out of town gonna pay for it, it's not, it's the people
it's
in
not,
town.
it's people in
Well,
town.
I'd rather
It's
push a
us.
1/4% sales tax to improve roads and city streets and stuff like that.
And that's exactly my concern, is
Yeah.
you get up to 9.1,
Exactly.
there's nothing left for us to pursue as a revenue stream for projects and infrastructure we need to, do ourselves too. And like I say, a few years ago, I know that was the same concern, why the county didn't want to put a vote for the hospital sales tax on there, was because of that same reason. And it might be that now they're pursuing a sales tax, and they probably wish maybe they had not have done that a few years later, so, yeah.
I understand, but
Sometimes
as-
you never know what
as
you're gonna
you
need it for
said,
down the road.
We need a jail, and my concern, being a new commissioner and looking at what we've got, is how long is it gonna be before we get sued because something happens in this jail? It's a mess, it's bad. So we need it, and we're just trying to pursue alternatives, and as you said, I think we tried to listen to the people and regroup, and that's where we are.
I think that something should be tabled till the next meeting and
Yep,
Okay.
come back with our research and
I think so too.
All right, that's a motion. I got a
Second.
second. Okay. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, we'll bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, John.
thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
John?
Next, we have the library agreement.
Okay, this was, from last meeting. Mandy wasn't able to be here today, but, I sent this to John. He made a change, in there, having to do, because he noticed that we were doing inside versus outside. Library takes care of the inside, city takes care of the outside. It's sort of similar to what we do with the art center down here, so we added in there the HVAC system. So when we replaced the HVAC at the art center, we did the condensers, they did the furnace. Furnaces, we did two. So he added those in words into this. And then I changed, under insurance, they said insurance certificate or certificate of insurance. I said proof of insurance. Is a little bit more general, but rather than having a piece of paper that like lined it out, we would have the ability to go, here, we show your insurance, your building's on here. It's a little bit more easier for us to prove that there's insurance on it versus creating a special certificate for it. So those are the changes from last time. Other than that, everything is the same. I mean, it matches up with what we've already been doing. So we have no complaints on that.
We've always done the snow removal.
Yes. Well, after, and I know what Cindy's gonna say. After they got, their janitor used to do it, and then when they got rid of that, we started doing that. So, yeah, we've been doing the snow removal.
Okay.
And I have to apologize, I left the planning meeting we had on the 12th. So we are picking up the insurance benefits for the employees?
That's, what do you mean picking up?
You mean for the workshop meeting?
Yeah, the workshop meeting.
What do you mean by picking up?
Well, are we bringing more people, individuals on?
So there's gonna be another hire, for the library. They planned another hire, and then the insurance situation for each one of the already employed is changing. They plan to change. So that's where the increase came in for their employee benefits.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Move
a
to approve
motion.
the library agreement and the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0. Next we have Mark with the gravel dash, and Wayne.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Hoffman, Ward 4. The 10th annual Pony Express Gravel Dash coming up September 8th and 9th, about 7 weeks out. Our goal this year is for 350 riders. We're approaching 300, so I think we have a good chance to fill to 350. Last year our goal was that, and we got to 338. So the event continues to grow each year a little bit. We have people come back every year. We get new riders every year, so people love to come to Marysville. With that number, we estimate, around 500 people come to town with, family and friends coming along. So, and there's also the half marathon, Pony Express half marathon, and then down there a little further, we do have a cornhole tournament later in the morning that day on Saturday, September 9th, as a fundraiser for a local baseball team. So we try to, add more events to keep things going downtown while the riders are out riding around the county. Similar requests as in past years. We asked the city to erect one of the, I believe there's 2 new tents to replace the old one. That kind
My
of.
parks guy did ask that question. He said he didn't know where they were stored, and we've never put them up.
Okay.
The Chamber of Main Street put them up for the
barbecue.
but for the barbecue, so they don't know where they are or even how they go up, so they don't know exactly. If somebody could help us with that, because it is a Chamber Main Street event, and so was the barbecue, correct? And they put them up, so I don't know. They're not opposed to helping, but they don't know anything about them
We'll communicate more with who owns the tents and
where they are. Who does own the tents?
The tents are owned by the Big Blue River Days, the barbecue portion.
The
And they're
barbecue
stored-
people,
I
okay.
believe they're stored at Jared and Ellie's house.
Oh, okay.
They're stored.
So why don't they set the tents up and the city get out of it?
I don't know.
Well, a comment I would make is we probably have at least 300 volunteers already in action that entire weekend. So assistance from city employees would be very helpful to alleviate exacerbating our volunteers even more.
No volunteers, it takes a lot of us. I know that, but, we get, how long does it take to put a tent up, Wayne?
Okay, and that is not my area of expertise.
I know.
So that was the pointed question, you got me.
Yes, 1 hour, 8 people's 8 hours a time.
We are very well aware of that. I think this is a partnership between an organization and the city that does good things for the city. It's clearly one of the things that brings people to town. And if you go to any of the Gravel Dash meetings, as a newcomer to that, the great thing is it's not just citizens of Marysville who are planning this, it's citizens of Kansas and Nebraska who come together to put this together. So I suspect that the thinking behind this is a nice partnership. This might be a way the city could help us out in this case.
Well, I just don't want to be the one that's blamed for not erecting it right. You know, well, your guys put it up, and then we get a windstorm, and it goes down, and they want us to replace it.
Right, which is I think what happened last year.
There
And
was
then it was
a
the-
front came through Friday evening and.
You
And
see
they were
where,
hard on
you
the
see
tent.
where my point is on this.
Yeah.
Well, we'll communicate more with, and find out who put it up last time and then see what we can come to arrangements on that. We do have some locations planned anyway of where we'd like the tents, so. The one city tent that we've used the last several years, the blue one, we'd like that in the same location if possible. It's like, you know, right west of the bike store building.
When it folds out, the small
The
one.
10
Yeah.
by 30.
It's like a, yeah, double size, yeah, that's very helpful and a lot of good advertising right there at the start finish line. I don't know if it's possible for the grassy areas to be treated by type of, did you guys maybe do your own treatment?
I thought we
I thought we had them
treated
sprayed.
I don't remember if we
I think
got-
we had Dom go down and spray them with bug spray.
I think we did. Yeah, we did.
I think we did it.
Okay, so
I
if
don't have a
that's
problem doing that.
Possible that, because, you know, there's a lot of people there hanging
Yeah.
out.
And what we could do is
Thursday, Friday and
possibly
Saturday.
spray it before the tents get put up, so they're
Right.
not in the way.
There you go. Sounds great. We'd also like to be able to use the water faucet on the east side of the Chamber Main Street building. We do plan to have a shower trailer again, located in that vicinity, so they do need a water hookup. The old Boss Motors building that, yeah, CS owns does not have water available at this time, so we would need, and I think we used that faucet last year for the shower
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
So that
I-
worked.
I
He
put
does
that in
still-
last year, yeah.
Yeah, Rob does still have the drain in the building that we can drain the shower water into, so that's still available. And then we might, the electrical outlet possibly on the back of the building, depending on food vendors. Wayne's working on some food vendors, so, and location and things, so.
On the electrical, can we do one thing and make sure that if we're gonna use it, have what you need? I don't know if you need 20 amp circuit or if you need,
Right,
That
find
type.
out what the vendors need.
yeah,
Yeah.
that way if there's a little change that
There-
has to be made, maybe we can make it in time.
There's, yes.
Yeah, there's, but I don't know what they are.
But I don't even remember what the amps is there.
Yeah. I'm just saying that there's a little change that we can make, and this is not a terrible a time to make that change.
I know at
while we
least
have some
one,
time.
I know at least one food vendor is used back there, so.
Will you use the plugins on 7th Street corridor for vendors or no?
It's not too far away. At this time, it's not needed.
No, I think
I
we'll be
because
closer
we have
to
to check 'em,
Broadway.
that's why I'm asking.
We have, in past years, we did have some overflow campers come up the corridor from the park, you know, and I don't know if anybody plugged in necessarily. It was kinda like,
I just wanted to make sure if there was
Yeah.
gonna be vendors there, because that's not, there's benches and stuff there.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we
Yeah.
check the plugins.
if possible, could we run the street cleaner over the south overpass? Both sides will have the riders leaving, going south and returning, coming from the south, and there's usually always some glass and debris on the shoulders. That would be appreciated. Similar with the barricades and orange cones, we would like to block off, the 600 block, and then the west half of the 700 blocks, similar to last year, and you guys have the map to refer to, so. And then down, halfway down the 7th Street corridor, the first half to the alley.
Just to the alley, not to Elm.
Yeah, I think just to the alley is what we did before. That's fine. Time frame as far as the streets being blocked off, 5 a.m. Saturday to approximately 8 p.m. Saturday evening, September 9th. If they can deliver the cones and barricades near the Chamber Main Street building in that vicinity, we can take care of putting them out and taking them back to that location. I think Wayne has talked to the farmer's market people about relocating that day. I know they've done the swimming pool parking lot in the past, but they're talking about it maybe near Identities. So we'll coordinate with them on that. We already talked about the cornhole tournament. Is there any questions about that? We do have Matt Smelsley here if there's any questions regarding the cornhole tournament. Like to be able to use the PA speaker system, Friday evening and Saturday. We do have, we don't need to block the street on Friday, but we'll have the riders meeting and check in there at the bike store and in the grass area to the west. We'll have the riders meeting out there. We've talked about coordinating with the Arts Center. There's going to be a display at the Arts Center for vintage bicycles, so we may have some traffic going down there to see the show and maybe have some of the prizes that people draw for down there, so. Police escort, we need police escort for the group of riders starting at 7:30 a.m. Saturday, and the group will start at 700 Broadway, go east to 10th Street, and then proceed south out of town along 10th Street and the highway to East River Road. I'm not sure the half marathon, I don't know if they've
They were here at
contacted.
the last meeting and asked.
Okay, they're
Yeah.
good, okay.
They've already given them permission.
Okay, great. We asked for approval for consumption of the beer within the designated area, inside the barricaded area described above. Beer and food vendors are being scheduled, not 100%, affirmed yet, but we'll keep working on that. And do whatever we need to make that possible. Any questions or concerns? We do also coordinate with the county as far as road closures, bridge closures. The county was great last year, putting us in contact with National Weather Service, which was very helpful making decisions, because they told us it was going to storm at 7:30 a.m. Saturday, and they were exactly right. So that was something new for us last year.
Separate, yeah.
That's that next resolution.
Okay. So, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
Approve
to
the request.
approve everything on the gravel dash except for the alcohol, this one.
Okay. All right, that a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
You said accept the alcohol?
It'll be
Alcohol
separate.
has to be separate,
Second, yeah.
so we'll do it in the next one, just has
It's
to
a
be separate.
resolution.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right. And then we have resolution 2023-41 for exempting a portion of the city of Marysville for alcohol consumption.
Approve resolution.
Go your alcohol dash. Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next we have, is Mandy here?
No.
It's here.
She said Wayne would cover for her.
Oh, okay, Wayne.
I do not have colored hair, so I'm clearly not Mandy Cook. 9 years ago, the Marysville Convention and Tourism Committee came to City Council to talk about this concept of doing a Marysville Minute. At the time, we were partnering with 502 Media, a marketing company out of Manhattan, and the concept was to come up with a monthly video, a minute long, that would showcase all that's going on in Marysville. It was a 2-year contract that we went into with 502 Media, and every month these videos would come out, and basically they were divided into 4 sections. So we would feature 4 different things. If we were doing a September video, probably the gravel dash would be included, maybe something back to school or some of the events that were going on. So we often use them on social media platforms. Sometimes we'd used paid advertising on TV to help move a message depending upon what the video was. But along the way, what wasn't an intended goal, but was a nice side outcome, was the sense of community that it gave to our Marysville residents. Over the past year, members of the Convention and Tourism Committee have heard from Marysville citizens saying, we miss the Marysville Minute, because it reminded us of the great things that are going on. I suspect you would agree that sometimes we can get bogged down in all the things that aren't so great, and we forget to see all the great things that are going on. And so when those Marysville Minutes would come out, we were all reminded of the positivity. And what happened is those minutes came out, they were shared, and they were shared, and they were shared, and they were shared. And if you know things about social media analytics, it's when you get those shares, that's when more people see it. And so 502 Media at the time was like, we can't believe these results. This is crazy that so many people are watching these videos of Marysville, Kansas. And as you see it from Andy's letter, along the way, we happened to catch the attention of Dr. Rice, and now we have our surgeon. So this year, we decided it's time to bring that back. We're not partnering with 502 Media. If you were on the council at that time, you'll remember when we created those Marysville Minutes, it was $24,000 a year to do that project. Fortunately, as times change and as we have maybe better access to videography equipment, we have our own local expert, Tommy McNish, who's an outstanding videographer, who has said he'll partner with us and charge us $400 a month to create these Marysville Minutes. Probably a similar concept as we did last time, and we're saying let's try this for a year, and you'll notice that as we've talked to Tommy, we've built in some timelines where we might say this is working or this isn't working, so we can make some adjustments.
Move to approve the request for convention and tourism for funding the Marysville Minute.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
Parker.
Okay. I don't know if anyone's noticed, we have a little issue with cars in the town. We have a deal for junked cars and broken cars. And the city of Hanover has a deal also. I don't want any decisions, I want some real thought and feedback of maybe a few solutions to come out of this. Because I think these are done this way, then we can keep some of them off our docket of going and taking vehicles and stuff like that. And gives people an opportunity to clean them up, gives them opportunity to be responsible. You know, I take the Crown Over deal there, that truck they have down there with no motor, that old truck. Well,
Yeah.
it's a classic to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
junking it's not what they want to do. Well, here's your hobby permit that would give an opportunity to come visit, talk, let you know where they're at, and require progress. I think you may do a fee once a year, but maybe make them come in twice a year, every 6 months, so it's just not sitting there. At least you can keep up with the progress a little bit. I don't think it's a bad idea. I want your guys' opinions, not tonight,
Yeah.
not a decision tonight, but an idea of where to go with it. Is what that is, all that's about, okay?
And if you wanted to go forward with something like this, I know, this ordinance 1233, we had this, it's no longer in force right now. As well as this permit right here. Somewhere along the way, it got written out of our code. And right now it's, you have a junk vehicle, take care of it, and that's it. So if the council does want to move forward with something like this or something different, just ask. I mean, if it's something different, talk about it, come up with some details, and ask staff to write an ordinance about it. But if not, then it is what it is.
If you want to, you can send it, I mean, yeah, you can send it wherever you want to.
You can send it
what I
to a
said,
committee
maybe
meeting,
you
yeah.
I want some people to ask some of their constituents and see what they think of the idea. Because I could see some people buying 2 or 3 vehicles to make one. And you're not gonna tag
But
the
it was
title
gonna
of 3 vehicles.
be limited, what,
take, you know.
Our old
to,
ordinance said you could take 2 vehicles
Two.
to make into one, I think, or else Hanover's did.
Yeah.
And you had to give us both VIN numbers so we knew what you're working on.
Right.
So you don't bring in other parts, and then we know that it's all done within 1 year. So we know where it's at and which VIN number we're ending up with.
Hanover. I think the VIN numbers were Hanover.
Yeah, they added VINs in Hanover. Ours was way back in 1880, or 1983, so. Yeah, 1883. The VIN numbers weren't as big of a deal then.
Those are
Wagons,
vintage.
Wagon permits.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Those were those wheels.
what Hanover's doing, would it be tough to administer
I wondered about
for
that.
the city?
It's all on
If,
you
as
to
long,
come do it.
as long as they come in and do it, then it would be the same. We could drive by that place like we're doing now and saying, okay, they're here. But after a year, if they're not done, then they're
Then they
out.
pay again?
Well,
They could be
our
reviewed
permit
again.
was, no, it had to be done in a year.
Okay.
Hanover allowed them to.
Well, it's gonna be kinda tough to restore a vehicle in a year,
Well,
especially at my
When it's
timeline.
outside.
Right, but what I'm saying is
I shoot for like 10, 20 years
Oh,
on things.
well, then I don't know if you get somebody who'd want to allow that as their
Okay,
neighbor.
so here's a difference. So if you're restoring your car inside your garage, that's nothing to us.
Right.
That's nothing to us.
No.
You're doing, this has no bearing on you. You could do without, as long as it's in your
this has
garage.
to do with what's sitting outside
If
the
it's,
garage.
if it's sitting outside. So there is, I mean, let's say, if we wanted to administer it, one option would be, so you could have something they could post on their premises that says, I've been approved to work on this for a year, and so we give them a permit, they could post outside. It's this color, so we know it's this year that it's been administered, and so the next year it's a different color piece of paper, sort of thing. Just top of my head, sort of thinking, that way Bob could drive by and go, oh, he's got a green piece of paper out there that says permit, and we've signed off on it, he's good for this year, or it's orange, that was last year, we gotta do something about this. So, just the thought process, doesn't have to go that way, but if you guys wanna talk about it more, wanna send it to committee, like Colleen was talking about, that's always an option.
Yeah, it seems like a committee thing to me, I guess.
Well, it just come
that's
up with
fine.
all the regulations that we want to include in it at the committee and, yeah.
I think it's a good idea, but I got a few people I wanna talk to, just to.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I want you
Yeah.
to talk, and get some ideas.
I have some
And how long you
concerns.
should really allow, whether is a year enough, or you want to do 5 years? I mean, how long is it going to be in somebody's backyard?
Projects take a lot longer than you want them to. I know all about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kick it to committee, which one? Admin and finance, or one ad hoc, or is there another one that makes,
Admin, finance makes the most
is
sense.
that we're kicking everything?
Yeah.
Or you can do an ad hoc, whoever
Wait,
wants.
Or an ad hoc, or whoever wants to talk about it, so. If standing committees, it'd probably be admin for regulation, but if there are people that actually want to be involved, then.
I know he's busy, but I kind of think Todd would be a good guy on this.
Throw them under the bus.
No, it's not put on the bus, he just, he
He
does
volunteered
this
you.
car stuff, and he has, a little bit involved there.
True.
I'll go if you go, Parker.
Oh, I don't care.
All right.
you
Okay,
go.
see one ad hoc?
Parker,
Okay,
Todd,
three guys, all right.
and Jeff.
Jeff.
Good job, guys.
You good.
I don't
Do
know
they have
that much
to-
about
Cindy,
cars
do we-
except how to check the
Speaking-
oil.
Do they have to vote on an ad hoc? I think they have to vote on.
Probably.
Creating an
It
ad hoc.
probably would hurt that way. we
I
actually
think we've
have
been
it.
doing it all different, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I nominate Jeff, Todd, and Parker for an ad hoc committee on vehicles.
That's kinda open-ended.
Yeah.
On restoration.
On
vehicles.
restoration of vehicles.
How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Okay, all right. And we have Nathaniel.
Good evening.
Evening.
Got a couple things I wanted to go through this evening concerning the lagoon and wetland project. The first, I'm going to go through on the bid tabulation and those components that we have with that. So on Friday, July 14th, 2:30, we had a public bid opening. We received 3 bids. Superior Excavating, Halcom Construction and Ebert Construction. Superior is out of Valley Center. Halcom was actually out of Nevada, Missouri, and Ebert's out of Wamego. You can see we had the base bid. That is effectively the whole brand new lagoon cell out at the lagoon site, the new primary cell, the 18 acres, and then all the work pertaining to the wetland cell and the connection intermediate of how we're taking the discharge line, the current discharge line, connecting it into the old force main that will gravity that over to the wetland cell. So what we did with that is we originally were looking to have a lift station on the west side, and we're doing that, and that allocated us some opportunities to make that in a budget scenario to make that cell at the lagoon. We were looking at 14 acres. Now, like I said, we've expanded that up to 18 to give a little bit more capacity with that. So this is that project, okay? We still do have the screening project, and along with that, and we'll talk some more about that later, we're going to look at some desludging of the north existing primary cell. So the alternate bid, what that was a replacement. The design has concrete around the whole new lagoon for the erosion protection. That's similar to what's on all the cells out there now. What the alternate is to not do concrete and do rock riprap in lieu of, just to see if it was a cost-saving measure. In all honesty, in regards to the low bidder anyway, there's not a whole lot of difference between those two. So it would be, if you took the alternate, you would, and we can go through the bid tab, I think you would take out 140,000 and you'd bring back in 112,000, and that's, I would say you probably stick with the concrete with that for sure. So. So in the bid tab itself, you can notice on Halcom, we did find a mistake. And the way that this is a unit price bid, so the way it's done is that the unit prices govern. And what they had done is and this is on item 32, they had a bid of $22,055. But there was actually two of those. They wrote for the total $22,055. So by documentation in the bid documents, that had to move up to 44,000. Okay, it didn't change anything. That was the only thing we found out of the three bids. So that's always a good exercise we want to look with as we go through that. So. As we look at this overall, what I would like to, if you look at the second page, I don't want to do this yet. I want to have some more discussion. But we would like to get to a contingent award to Superior. And if you want to do the alternate, you would include that in that. Right now, I'd be recommending you stay with the base bid. And then the secondary condition of that motion, or it could be a separate, would be to allow the mayor and city attorney, city staff, once we get this info back from CDBG and KDHE, that we will have the documents prepared and we can just sign and move forward. Okay, so that's where we're trying to get. So before I move on, are there any questions particular to the bid?
We're all over the place.
Yes, and I will be honest, on my, the original bid, the original estimate that I had prepared was right under 2 million in the PER. And that was for the 14 acre cell and the wetlands. So we've expanded that. So I really was thinking it'd be closer to probably the Halcom. But with the timing, I wanted to make sure I wasn't low. So, I did put some numbers to that. Yeah, the large bid, I honestly, you can look at what they have in the bid tabs, and they weren't very competitive
People's
with that.
hungry, though.
Huh?
These companies are hungry. They're looking for jobs.
Some of them are, for sure, and some of them aren't, I think, and I think we've seen a couple of those. So, so any other question on that before we move into kind of the budget and make sure anything with that? So if you go to the next memo that I prepared. So as we noted, we're looking at a total value of $3.7 million for funding. We're going to round that a little bit, but what we're wanting to look at is right now, where are we at? I want you guys to feel comfortable with the bid. I'm comfortable with the bid in regards to budget consideration. Just wanted to make sure that there weren't any questions regarding that. So the major component, if you go to the second page, so the original construction budget of the lagoon and wetland, like I said, was just under 2 million. We're currently looking at 1.74 million. The screening and desludging, which is how I note it, that flipped was 1.2. That included the lift station at that time. So we took out some of those costs. We added a lot more into the lagoon side. We've kind of flip-flopped those. My current budget that I'm looking at is about 1.1. That would be the screening. We're also looking, we've worked with city staff, we're looking at some electrical upgrades that weren't originally included in the PER for the pumps, looking at some VFDs. So we've got those in process as well as the desludging. And we can do the desludging in different ways, but the desludging was something that KDHE really brought forward and said, we really would like you to do that, and they will be paying at least 30% of that. So I think it's, I think in consideration of where we looked at with budget, we're within that component. So you're looking at 600,000 from CDBG, and the nice thing with that is CDBG changed a few years ago that whatever you submitted your project as, it set the percentage of that grant versus the total. So if you had 600,000 and you did, I'm just going to say $1 million project, you had 60% grant. If that project comes in at 800,000, you only get 60% of that 800,000. We had Amanda via Zoom from South Africa during the bid. I know her company, I know we have, I know all the grant administrators have really come back and really pushed forward to try to go back to the old system. You guys are spending over $3 million. And in this case, why would they ever take that money back on CDBG? So she had informed us that that process is changing, that it will be done via the percentage through the pay request, but once it's done at the final, you'll get that full amount. So that's great news, because with this budget, it would have been, 30% of that would have, been less. You wouldn't have got the full amount. So I think with that, the SRF is almost 3.2. That's the value of the SRF loan, which you are also eligible with principal forgiveness, 30%. So right now, if we used all that value, you would get a principal forgiveness of about $950,000. So on an overall budget impact, we're doing as well, probably better than we expected originally. So, so are there any other questions regarding the budget or any other components of the overall system?
On the bed sheet, line 19, 20, 21, Superior is really low. I think it's, I hope it's not a typo, because the other two are like 6 times and 8 times more than what they are.
There, it's, if you look up at 5, 6, and 7, they're the same too.
Yeah,
I know, I agree.
just-
I mean, those numbers to me are 10-year ago numbers. I'll just be honest.
I just find it odd that one could be 6 times and 8 times more.
Well, the 8 times more, I think I know why. The 6 time more, you can look, you sometimes want to look at things and how numbers are put together, because contractors will put money here versus here, and then the other one will do it the opposite way, so it's kind of hard. I do know this, Superior, this is their, I mean, their Superior Excavating, that's what this company started with. They also do pure utility projects. They're currently on 2 of our water main projects. There are some issues in finishing, I guess I'll say it that way. They've submitted the info, we'll go through, this still has to go through CDBG and KDHE. That's why I would ask you motion. There's nothing that jumps out to me. I don't think, I haven't heard anything from Amanda in regards to the info that we submitted to her. So I think I would feel comfortable based off of that. Now, the one other thing that I would come back or talk with, assuming they would be the awarded contingent, out at the wetland site, what we had looked at originally in our design, and every contractor means and methods can do things differently, right? So inside the wetland, that's set. There's no difference in how that's going to be. But where did they get the fill material? Because remember, we have to bring that up several feet to get the 10-foot separation, and then we build a liner, and then we have the wetlands on top of that. So we had looking at that big south excavated area as an area that they could get sand very easily, or directly. I shouldn't ever say easy, more directly, as opposed to maybe hauling it in. And then we looked around the east side of the wetland cell, wrapping around the north a little bit, but primarily along the east, between the road and the wetland cell, being a large area of excavation. We'd have 3-to-1 slopes, we'd have, you know, but they have a little different view. I don't think they're going to go to the south for the sand overall. They're going to go to the west. There's another depression over there. Right now, there's no wetlands identified on the west side. There were some in the south, and we had those identified, and we worked with Corps on that, and everything was fine with that. But, so we will end up with, you'll have if this goes through the way it looks, you're gonna have some other wetlands out there, definitely. And I think those areas between are going to be more of a natural, and we can talk about how we want to drain it, you know, do we want to drain it? We don't want to have a whole lot of water sitting there by any means, but those are things I've talked at least preliminarily with the contractor, the low contractor, to try to get that coordinated a little bit better so we can come back with you, or to you with that info, so everyone's comfortable with that. My concern is the roadway, we need some separation. We don't want to have that, you know, a big ditch that's 5 foot deep maybe, off of there. Right up next, we want to have some spacing, and protection, so. So with that, I guess I'm open for any other questions or thoughts?
You want to talk about the screening and
Yeah.
the dredging?
So what we're currently, we've got a layout, set for the screening. What we'll probably, where we're currently at is, I've got some information on some different types of screens. What we're currently looking at is a more heavy-duty screen, because it's gonna be outside. We can talk about having a cover, different things, but a heavy-duty screen that will operate throughout the winter. Which primarily means, one, heavy-duty construction, but also an automatic, movement, so it never shuts down. You know, you can just turn it on and it'll continue. And I put several of those in and they work fine. So, the one other thing that we talked a little bit about, is if we've saved some dollars through this, do you want to look at a different type of screen, but it may require a building? And that's a more expensive, now you would have less expense in the screen, but you would have a new building. And that's at least, I'm not trying to make a decision tonight, but think about that. The difference between the cost, you're gonna end up paying more overall for doing a building with a cheaper screen. And when I say cheaper, it's less expensive because it's housed inside, it's conditioned, it's easier to work with. But we are looking at already adding, you know, some of the VFD components. We know we're gonna have some additional cost on that. So I just wanted to bring that forward, I guess in that sense, if there's thoughts on your guys's either now or later.
Knowing what goes through those pumps down there and the stuff that's been caught in them, I would just as soon stay with the heavy-duty one and not do the lighter one.
Well, I don't think he necessarily means
I-
lighter.
you don't
This-
have
this is
to.
because
I
of where it's
mean,
housed,
No, I
yeah.
mean,
You could do the heavy duty inside a building, if that's
Yeah.
what you would wanna do.
Okay, where exactly is the screening gonna go?
It'd be in the southwest corner of the fenced area.
Right
Out,
down-
out the main lift
At the
station.
main lift
Sorry,
station.
sorry.
And that's right down there, just south of the city shop?
Yep.
Okay, how loud is it?
Not very long, no.
Well, you know what I'm asking, in a building, do we have to, in a building, is it gonna quiet it down so it's not disturbing everybody?
It's not loud at all. I mean, being outside, you're right next to it, there's no sound issues
Okay,
or anything.
but you know, okay, you know
Yep.
what I'm asking.
That's a good question, but yes, it's fine.
I would say as somebody that works on stuff all the time, that the nice thing about having it in a building is Murphy's Laws, it'll break down when it's minus 20.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
lot
it puts the
nicer to
most
work
stress
on.
on the system, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we seem to go from one extreme to the other usually.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
What's the difference in cost, just ballpark?
I would say, well, I'd say the building will add at least a couple $100,000, maybe $250,000.
If you go with the heavy, especially, I'm
Yeah,
assuming the bigger one.
especially if you
yeah.
go with the heavy duty, you're probably looking at $250,000. If we drop that down a little bit on grade inside, you might save 50,000 there, but I would say you would look at a budget of 2 to 250 to make that step.
Plus you have to maintain the building and
Yeah, and you have to heat it and you have to,
condition it.
Yeah.
like I said, the screen that we have, we're gonna have it in, it'll be at an angle.
When it's minus
If they
20,
need
not
to
trying to
work on
fix it
it,
in the
it'll be able to pivot up and out, so it'll be flat.
It's 110.
I mean, it is gonna be elevated, out, but they can come up, they'll have a way to work on that. Hopefully, it's not at -5 degrees.
If it gets
Well, that might
Is there a
We got
way,
that tent.
Yeah,
If you need to work on it.
is there a way we can get a cost estimate of having the heavy-duty one outside versus heavy-duty one inside a building?
yeah, I can give you some components of what, a facility like that would be.
I think that'd help us make a decision.
Yeah. Okay, we can do that. So,
Yeah, heavy duty regardless is
Yeah.
where I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
yeah, there's different types that when you are looking at a smaller budget that you would use, and sometimes when you use those, you just turn them off in the winter because they're gonna just freeze up. So that's not what we want here.
Right.
So I would say, can we have the motion, make sure it's contingent upon CDBG and KDHE?
Yeah,
You can do it all in one.
You can do it all in one. Yeah.
How about we award the contract to Superior Excavating contingent upon CDBG, Kansas Department of Health and Environment, concurrence for the sum of $1,741,416.06.
Second.
With,
Huh?
were you gonna do the second part of that?
We'll do it,
I
we'll do a
was gonna
second.
second?
Yeah, we'll do another motion.
Yeah, okay.
Just simplify it, or, yeah, go for it.
Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
And authorize the mayor and city attorney to process all contract documents and proceed with the construction.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
All right. Have you heard anything more, Cindy, from Amanda? I haven't either, so.
She's enjoying her time.
Well, I don't know if enjoyment.
No, she's
uh,
awake when we're sleeping and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's from South Africa, isn't she?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And it's wintertime there and it's cold, so she's inside working on stuff.
Yeah, we found out she doesn't have heat in the house that
No.
she's got either. She goes, it was like 45 degrees when we were bidding and, anyway.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to notices and hearings. First, we have Resolution 2023-38, a nuisance at 303 North Street. Bob?
Okay. The owner of that is Ron L. and Deborah L. Sparks. You can see by the pictures from the beginning and the ones I took on the 17th, he started loading it up and he's hauled the trailer load out of there, but it's kind of quit. And it's still a disaster up there. It needs to be taken care of.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Move to approve resolution 2023-38.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So. Okay, we have Resolution 2023-39 at 410 Carolina.
Yeah, a lot of progress has happened this week. It really has. I mean, you go down there and all the pallets are been taken down, stacked up. The vehicle that's in there is gone. I mean, they're really finally working on it, and if they continue, I mean, it would be a good deal.
Someone want to make a motion?
Their time is up, correct?
This will give them till August 3rd to finish.
Yeah, I got a little bit left.
Yeah.
We'll let them keep going. Move to approve resolution 2033-39.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0. And we have Resolution 2023-40.
Okay.
at 504 Spring.
That's Roger Miller's. He's got a bunch of it stacked on trailers, but still the fence is terrible. You go down there and I seen raccoons right coming out from behind that fence.
It's a big nuisance, to be honest with you. It needs to be cleaned up. So, I don't know what to do.
Somebody make a motion?
Move to approve Resolution 2023-40.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we will open the hearing on Resolution 2023-20.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
And Will's not here, so,
No, Will's not here. But I think the people are.
yeah. First up, we will open the hearing on Resolution 2023-22 at 1301 Calhoun, which was, who will know?
Yeah, that's that one up there
Oh,
by the
hello.
furnace. Yep.
How you doing?
We're good. Evening.
Yeah.
There's probably enough, have you made any progress on,
Well, I decided to demolish.
oh, did you?
That's-
Okay.
That's why my decision is to demolish the house.
Will you
Are
come
you
and
gonna-
fill out paperwork then?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the program?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Is there a time frame on that?
How
I don't
soon?
really have the person to do I have no idea what the
How long
process
till
is.
it's tear down?
Well, you'll come in and fill out the paperwork, and then it comes to council and they approve it, unless you want to approve it before we bring the paperwork to you. And then you have,
Say, we put a timeline on that
Yeah.
paperwork now.
and I think is it 90, is it 6 months, 90 days? I'd have to
I wanna
look.
say it's
It's
6
on the
months, but I could be
paperwork
wrong.
now. I can
Yeah, no,
tell
we
you
did
when
put
you
a
come in to
time
get it.
frame.
Timeline on it.
Yeah, we did, because last time they were taking more than a year.
Yeah.
And then it's $2,500 to help you pay for what, up to $2,500 to help you pay to take it down
That'll work.
and haul it off. Yeah, but
Okay.
if you want to come in and get the paperwork, that'd be great.
Can I come in tomorrow?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What do we do on that one then? Vote it down, or can we just?
No, this is just a hearing.
Okay.
So it was to extend, last time we said we made progress and we extended.
Well, do
So
we have to
now-
have, I guess we do have to have a motion to extend or any or not?
You can, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just wondering if we should officially do it or just
You could make a
say
motion
we're all
to
right.
say that, till he gets the paperwork back to you. I mean, to give him that much time, if you want to.
How much time?
Next meeting, probably,
Yeah.
I'd say.
2 weeks to get the paperwork done?
Yeah.
August 14th, okay?
So we need to make a motion to that?
Yeah, if you would.
Make a motion on Resolution 2023-22, 1301 Calhoun, that we need the paperwork back by August 14th, the next meeting.
Okay. All right, have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, yep. Okay, next we have Resolution 2023-23, which is 500 Jenkins. Hmm? Yeah, Dave's. Yep. The next two are. Dave?
Good evening. 500 Jenkins?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the first one. Yep.
I purchased that house approximately 3 weeks ago. We've been doing extensive work to the interior as well as the exterior. And I'm here tonight to request an extension till November 1st for completion.
To win?
November 1st.
Or completion. How long is
A little bit over 3 months then.
It's been 90 days.
Yeah, it's basically 90 days.
Okay.
Move to approve an extension on,
500 Jenkins.
on
Yeah.
500 Jenkins.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I'll make it November 1st or November 13th.
But first, I
The
have
meeting.
time to get it
Yeah.
in the agenda.
November 13th. I can't read that calendar from here.
Yeah, that's
November 13th.
How about,
Yeah.
Is it first meeting in November?
But you need it by November.
by the 8th of November.
I'd just make it, okay.
I need it
Amended
for
to
the,
November-
for the.
Amended to November 8th.
Yeah.
A few more days.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0. And then the next one is 502.
502 Jenkins. Which is the house next door. Same story, I'd like to also have an extension on that till November 8th to get that house completed.
Move to approve the request.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right, thank you,
Thanks,
Dave.
Dave.
Okay, next we have resolution 2023-25 at 300 Calhoun. Hello.
Ray?
Well, I was kind of a shock when I got notification, but I had been thinking about putting a building there. I think I've talked to some of the other people in the city, before the council before. My goal is to actually take the house down. However, I believe that there's a time frame if I take the house down, that if I'm gonna go put something back there, in order to be able to take advantage of both items, that I gotta no less, I think it's, what is it, a year? That's my understanding. Is that what it is? If I take one down, put it up. So I'm not gonna say I necessarily need a year, but I'm gonna need some time to do something, because my goal is to take it down. However, that house has been used for storage, and there's a garage there, a 2-car garage, and a couple automobiles in there. I have to find a place to put that stuff. If I could, I'm gonna need some time, that's all I can tell you. And if you guys come in and say, take the son of a gun down, then you're gonna have to do it. I'll get my crap out of there and you guys can go about your business, but it'd be easier if we work together instead of butting heads.
How much time do you think you need?
Well,
Because, I mean,
how
we're
much time
we're
do
looking at, right now, we're looking at August, or we're almost August 1st.
Right.
And we're not gonna I don't wanna pouring concrete in January. 6 months from now, it's gonna be January.
No,
I'd sure like to do something for darn sure. I mean, within a year's time, if it ain't down, you come in and take the damn thing down, whatever.
Okay.
And
What
put it
I'm-
against my taxes, whatever. But I gotta, I mean, I was shocked. I got other things going on too, I'm sure everybody else does as well. But, that's my,
Yeah,
that's my suggestion.
we've been doing a lot of these the last couple months, so.
But you're gonna come in and try and do like
The shouse,
like the $2,500 deal, or?
The 5,000.
That's what I was gonna say, it's 5,000 if you put something back
Because
there.
he's gonna put a house back.
Yep. Could you come in and get that paperwork done in the next 2 weeks?
yeah, sure can.
There you go. Let's
I mean, if something changes otherwise, I'll come in and let you guys
Because I
know
believe that paperwork gives him a
ASAP.
year.
That way you guys ain't
I
wondering.
have to look, you put a timeline on it, and I
I
don't remember
want to
what
say it
we
was
changed.
6 months, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it
we
might be
haven't
a
done
year
a
to
lot
get
of
it
the
down and
5,000
back
ones.
up.
Right, because then how that works is that then it has to be on the tax roll before they get the second half, and it has to be worth 35,000, which of course, your house is gonna be worth 35,000 appraised value from the appraiser, but
Well,
yes.
We have no problem working with you.
Okay, I mean, you just come out and fill out paperwork and go from there?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Make a motion?
Yeah, I
or
would
put
do
a
like
date
we
on
did the
this,
other
or-
one, put a motion.
What is it?
'Cause I've been talking to a lot of different building companies, and, you know, you gotta kinda get down to the brass tacks to find out whether one is galvanized tin, as far as I'm concerned, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't wanna spend no money if I'm not gonna get something that's gonna stand up and last.
Yeah.
That's the game plan.
Motion on resolution 2023-25 to give them, till the next meeting, to get the paperwork done. What do we even call that, assistance paperwork?
Economic development.
Economic development paperwork.
Yeah, So you'll come in and we'll talk the paperwork.
All right,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Parker
How's-
made a motion.
Second?
Second.
Just make it, all right. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Okay. Next we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Next we have appropriations ordinance number 3802.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3802 in the amount of $465,392.65.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about any items on there? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Pikeman. Price,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
So. Next, we the staff reports.
All right, first thing on my list is an agreement, a proposed agreement, I'll use that word, proposed agreement to utilize, city property to install a tower for Verizon, wireless. The property in question is just south of the water plant in the industrial park. And I have a map on page 95 that shows that triangle of land. And in that triangle is the dog pound. They will not, it'll stay there. Unless we feel like we need to move it, but it's not going to interfere with the dog park. They sent me a site plan after I got the agenda out, and it's just a square, well within the bounds of this triangle, and actually quite a bit away from the dog pound that they want to put a tower and a building inside there. And that's the gist of it. So I put this in the agenda so you guys can read it and discuss it, and you don't have to make a decision tonight if you don't want to. But this has been a discussion for months now between staff and the representative for Verizon. So this is kind of come down, and city attorney, of course. So are there any questions on this agreement?
Was there any other locations discussed?
Not of city property. They did discuss with other private landowners. They came down to, I think they investigated 3 serious locations. One was ours. And they determined that this spot got the Marysville proper, and it spanned out to just get Walmart in.
How tall a tower is this?
A little less than 200.
What's the max they can have without guide wires and stuff? That must be getting up there.
I mean,
That was my first thought. I was like, man, how are they gonna squeeze it in there with the wires? But
Yeah, that's what
apparently
I
it
was
doesn't have
wondering
wires.
too.
They talked about, I forget what cutoff, it's been months, like I said, months of conversation. We talked about how tall they can get, and how big a property they needed.
It's down in a hole too.
That's
I mean,
what I'm
I was
thinking.
like,
You want to put a tower up in a hole.
They're relying on their studies, their engineers. Like I said, they were talking with another property owner.
200 feet even give them clearance above that hill going up 17th Street?
Well, but I'm guessing they got a dead spot down
It's
in
I was
low
gonna
enough.
say, it sounds like it's gonna fill in a
Right,
complaint
well, that's
spot.
true.
And it's
Yeah.
not an FAA hazard on
Right.
the
No,
approach
that-
or anything.
Water
No.
tower is gonna be taller than that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
also weird to me. You're gonna look down on a cell tower.
But if it's filling in a dead spot, I can
Yeah.
understand
Is it a 5G tower, presumably?
it. There is.
I don't know if they're going, this could be, this is a discussion, this is just supposition from discussions with T-Mobile and how they've set up their stuff. In my discussions with their commercial side, they talked about how T-Mobile had the head start on the tall tower 5G, which is the slow 5G. And Verizon had the corner on the small cell 5G, which is faster, but it's made for urban settings and stuff like that. Verizon was just getting into the tower. This could be 5G. They didn't exactly tell me the specs on it, but they could be getting into the taller, slower 5G. But they didn't say what this tower is going to be. They just
this was the spot they've been pretty interested in. And they've put some work into it, so.
And this is gonna make the whole community happy. It's
Yes.
gonna relieve our frustrations. I mean, we have assurances, or is it gonna be like, oh, cool, you put up a new tower and also the same problem exists?
They didn't ask us that.
Yeah.
I don't,
can only
personally, I
help.
don't think they're gonna invest however many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars or.
If it's not gonna help.
If it's not gonna do
Yeah.
anything. This would pay us rent,
Yeah.
I know you did some research. Is this pretty comparable what they usually kind of pay?
okay, so there's some differences. A lot of towns were getting lots of money, but they own the towers, the actual physical tower themselves. As far as land leases going, I've seen anywhere from 3,000 to 15,000. So it's right in there. They lowballed us in the first place, probably looking to get back to this number.
They weren't interested in the tower we have up the street on top of the hill. It's pretty high.
We can't.
We can't put it on
We
our
got
water
like
tower?
4 foot of,
Yeah, I
2
don't-
to 4 foot of space.
Because of that, we put
Because
that
of the
ring
airport.
on when we
Because of
did
the
it,
airport.
but because of the
Yeah,
airport.
yeah. So we barely fit the point-to-point wireless that we
Yeah.
did. So that's not a thing.
Not an option.
Yeah.
This
Or the-
area
or
just
this-
seems a little bit too small. I mean,
Yeah.
just don't,
The what?
that area just seems a little bit too small for
Yeah.
anchor cables and all that stuff. It's just, I know that
That's
there was
not- yeah, I don't
talk
think they're doing
in
anchor
one of our
cables.
workshops about possibly a new dog kennel too, making it bigger, so I don't know how that all.
There's space. There's
Yeah.
space for that.
Yeah, it could be, and you know, space to the.
Let's see if I can pull this up.
I just know they were doing that one in Hanover, and there's still a harness hanging up there because a guy fell.
Oh.
That was an AT&T tower. Everybody in Hanover switching to AT&T because they have no Verizon coverage over there.
Did you show them the city landfill property?
No.
Curious.
But
I mean, on the
Yeah, that's
positive
not in
side,
the flight zone any.
yeah,
It's not in the flight zone.
No?
it's not. That's what I was just wondering.
I personally, I'm not in favor of it down there.
you know, on the positive side for this location, there's no houses right
Right,
there.
and
Nobody's,
that's what-
nobody's
yeah.
having to look right at it. It's not gonna be right in
It's
there.
industrial, you
We'll
know.
have a beacon on the top, a light.
I would guess it would. Would that have things?
Based off of regulations.
I mean,
I would think it would have a beacon.
I'm pretty desperate to have the cell service that I pay for every month, so I mean, I'm inclined to like that about it. I'm also, you gotta think they looked at pretty much other options wherever they could. I don't know.
I'm sure they know where they need coverage and they
Yeah.
looked at sites that,
Someone
what
was
they needed.
telling me they looked up by the, either Feld Field or the other field.
Okay,
Well, one time
so
they
there
were talking about by
are
the fire station.
our past with
T-Mobile?
no, it was U.S. Cellular. I want
that's
to
who it was.
say U.S. Cellular approached us about putting up what could have looked like a flagpole at the backside of Felt Field. And that was years ago, and there was protests by council members at the time and
by
neighbors.
housing, yeah,
Um,
it became a thing. That's what's nice
so-
about this one. It's not by a bunch of
It's an
houses.
industrial park.
Yeah, so you're not gonna get a lot of complaints. Probably, if anything, the business owners might be happy if it improves their cell phone reception down there.
Yeah, I don't think the neighbors that are there, I can't see them having a lot of complaints, but
I would think so.
there's not a lot of people there to look at it.
Yeah, the apartments are about the only thing around there.
The school, but you're already looking at a water tower that'll half block it.
Jehovah's Witness is there, but, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be great.
Does the city have Verizon right now for
Yes.
city staff?
Yes.
They can't work that in somehow?
I
You don't get what you don't ask for.
Those have been questions, and they use a middleman. They use a middleman for very good reason.
to insulate themselves
Our
from.
street sweepers on that system.
Yep,
So are
So are
our
the
police
police
vehicles,
vehicles.
yeah.
yep.
We can calculate how much we're paying and then we can just add that. They've got their way to avoid it and we've got our way to get it. I mean, I'm sure we shell out plenty annually.
From one phone.
No, I know
Or
I
two
do,
phones.
it's only 5 phones.
Believe me, we do.
Mm-hmm.
$80-some for 2 phones, and now I'm paying $70 for 1 phone.
Would somebody like to make a
Well,
motion?
no.
Or-
Well, I mean,
or
unless you really want to approve this,
Gonna bring it back next meeting,
I
or-
bring it back next meeting. If you have any questions about this, send them to me. You don't have to tell me now, and I can ask them, or answer based off of my knowledge.
One question would be, like Keith said, will the guide wires fit within that frame?
I was trying to find the site plan he sent me. and
I measured one out and it was like 2.89 acres is what this one took up.
And you'd think you'd want those guide wires away from the right of way a little bit as far as the street and everything there. 'Cause, I mean, if it's too close and, snowplow gets a little exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would think they'd have it back a
Or a
ways.
truck comes out, slides out of, tension.
Or a
and catches
trailer
one.
or something.
Yeah.
Most of the time they put big chain link fences around
Yeah,
it.
they do.
Chain link fence won't stop a big enough truck though.
It'll stop a lot.
You, speaking from experience.
You used to mow them.
Maybe it's easier to see the plan of the thing, I mean, where all the anchors and everything was
Maybe
gonna
an
be
example
before we
picture would be
decide.
nice.
Hold on.
You know that one south of Waterville?
Yeah.
We used to mow that every 2 weeks. I watched a farmer catch that one time, and I was amazed at what it did to his implement.
Okay. So here, let me zoom this in. This is what they have. This is the fenced-in area right here. Their pole right there, and that's the building they want to build. Here's the dog pound.
Doesn't show any wires coming off of it,
No,
does it?
it's not showing guide wires.
Well, if I'm understanding that, is that a 70, roughly 75 foot by 75-foot fence?
Yeah.
So
That's the drive for tension right there. So you got that space, that space.
Sorry.
There's no guide wires.
There are no wires in that.
Yeah.
It's not showing any.
Design of technology.
Freestanding.
Monopole. Yeah. Just a
Yeah.
just a pole.
Concrete.
They could be like deep
Oh, yeah,
concrete.
but that's what I mean.
Well,
It-
they make
it's
wind
not
turbines
taking up
awfully
near
tall.
as much
and,
area as we all think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
A little closer.
See if it said anything about it.
What's the red square?
The red. Okay, I'll go down to that one.
Get some gas.
That's probably the.
Oh, yeah, probably to heat it.
Yeah, that would be a good guess. But let's see what the top said. That one says center of tower, center of tower. Yep. Proposed least 60. Well, this says 60 feet. Yeah,
What's their construction timeline?
they don't have that yet. But they've done multiple inspections. And,
Todd's anxious.
I know.
I'm on Wi-Fi here, so I'm good at that,
Battery equipment cabinet. Yeah, everything. Oh, here it is. What is that? Oh, that's the. There you go. Right there. Oh, concrete pier reinforcement plan.
4 feet apart, whatever.
There you go.
I think everybody in town would be excited.
You're gonna have a giant.
Yes, Yeah.
Bunch of, well,
Yeah.
they'll dig out the
if-
concrete and everything, or?
Yep.
Okay,
They're done. I don't know if they'll pull the concrete.
well, that's, yeah. That's what I would wonder about.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll bring that back for next
Yeah,
meeting.
we'll bring it back next week if you guys want. So. All right, if there's no other question, if you have any other questions after this, feel free, email me, and I can get them answered. Oh, here we go. 185 foot.
Tall?
Tall. From the very tip.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just a straight up pole.
That seems crazy.
And I hate to say no to potential income, you know, $11,000 is a
Well,
lot.
and if it would improve people's cell phone service, so, and we aren't really using it for anything, that space.
I don't think we're gonna get anybody else to sit in that triangle.
No, it's.
And it's,
weird.
it's probably, I was just thinking about this, a couple weeks ago, it's beneficial that we, didn't have this pole there, because we used that as a temporary access when we fixed that intersection. So,
Well, but hopefully we won't be fixing that
yeah,
intersection.
so,
So
yeah,
we
that's
hope.
the idea, we ran through that, we don't, I mean, we used it, before it was used up, so. Okay. So, yeah, just feel free to send me any questions. The next thing on my list is the 8th Street and Elm Street, water line project. We received 3 bids, and the lowest bid was from Jadwin Construction for $428,963. And,
That was quite a bit higher than the engineering estimate.
right,
144,000 over the engineer's estimate.
Yeah, that's what I saw, it was quite a bit higher than we thought or had hoped.
the fact that all these were right in, like, each of these contractors were all pretty much the same indicates the market is pretty much right on with the bid. Not saying you have to take it, but I'm saying that's where we're at right now.
We need to do it, I mean, that's the area that we keep having breaks all the
Right.
time on.
If it were low, and, I mean, Jadwin was still low, and everybody else was way off, different, I'd say there was something weird, but it looks like market rate, right there.
And I know a project like this going down 8th Street, a lot of brick repair,
A lot of brick.
depending on
And
how they put it in.
I think we're boring a lot of it, so they'll dig those big holes.
Right,
And
so
have to fix those.
But you still have to come back and fix the street.
And fix the street, yes.
Brick lane is a task.
Yes. So, I leave this up to your discretion on how to move forward. Probably take money out of sales tax to pay for this. I mean, some of it out of water, but, I'd say we could use sales tax and utility reserve if we have to.
Well, if we didn't do the manhole reading, because that
No,
was so much
and
higher, so
we're-
is that gonna kind of balance out?
No, because that's a different, this is water, that was sewer.
Sewer.
We can make this project work, is basically the message. And
That's the thing, I mean, the guys keep having to fix brakes or all the time, you have to do something. And it's,
I know, right
we
there
wanted to fix
south
like
of-
last year,
Yeah, south of Schudy's apartments there, they're there every winter digging that one
they're
out.
always digging up
Right.
on the west side of.
And there was the one time where it broke right next to reflections and a truck almost sank into it.
A couple years ago.
Or did, actually,
Yeah, it
kinda
did,
did.
kinda.
They had to back it up.
What's the highlighted box for?
Oh, remember when BG, Thaniel was in here and he said that one made a mistake? They made a mistake in their calculation. So if you look in the bottom box, their original submitted bid was $428,903. CES went through and checked the numbers, and they were a little off, with their calculation, their unit price versus extension. So it was $60 increase compared to their original bid, so, they showed that.
They did work here in town before.
Jadwin is going to be, they haven't done the work yet. They're now working on our flush tanks, and they're doing the sewer in front of KDOT. So they're contracted to do that.
Okay.
They're out of Hiawatha, so.
Timeline on this?
I'll have to go back and look at it would be according to the contract and all the, so like like the other two projects we approved are to be done in August, pretty much, or that's the starting point.
This should be completed by the beginning of, before it gets cold then.
Yes, yeah, they should be done this year.
For November 1st?
Well, just
Yeah.
water lines ain't something we'll be working
I
on.
know.
No, you don't want it opened up.
No.
But
Like the holes in the street.
I
and all
don't, we
that.
did not talk about extending it through the winter, so I think this is one that, if I remember right, that this is to be done this year, and since they're already working in town.
This takes us from the valve box on the south side of Reflections, or not Reflections, of RX, correct?
Yeah, it takes us.
Down to,
Should go down to the pool, doesn't it?
No, it does not. It goes to the
alley.
alley south of Elm Street,
and then.
and then Elm Street
all the way
over
to
to
10th.
10th Street, yes.
Right.
I just don't like it, it's $144,000 more than the engineer's estimate, though.
Yeah, but if you look through them, Kevin, and you start.
They're all close, I know.
Well, I'm looking at individual things in them, and they're all so close
Yeah.
to the same that it is.
It just, basically, it is what it is.
You know, you get the sewer project that comes in way under, and this comes in.
That's the way it
I know.
is.
Well, and I think some of it has to deal with what they're getting a hold of.
Like I said, this is gonna be a time-consuming deal, putting all those bricks and stuff back.
Oh, and it's a
Plus,
busy
they're going to a-
location.
Huh?
It's a busy location,
Yeah.
traffic control and all that.
8th Street's a nightmare all the time, and
And they're going, am I correct, they're going to a bigger pipe?
Yes.
Down
Yeah.
Eighth
Oh,
Street?
yeah.
To 8-inch
Yeah,
pipe.
that's what I was
And
thinking.
that 8-inch pipe is majority of the cost.
Yeah.
So I think, let's see, where's 8th Street at? It's at that, right there. Or is it this valve? So this valve right next to Reflections,
RX drug.
or, yeah, RX.
You're all right.
R.
I said the same thing
R,
too.
yeah, I know. Down to this alley. Oh, hold on, don't do that. I know, I had zoom on instead of, so down to this alley, and then, we go over.
There's already a valve in that alley we've
Yep.
already installed,
There's
correct?
yes.
There's that, but there's also a line underneath the highway that we've already been done too.
But it's stopping on the west side of the highway,
It
correct?
stops, at the where did my thing go? 10th Street, right there. So the valves, right there, that are right on the edge of the highway. So, yeah, it replaces all that. All brick streets, every single one of them.
Yep. That's time consuming, laying those bricks back in there.
Well, you know what? They're boring. It's either gonna go or it's not. So, motion to approve the bid by Jadwood Construction for.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
All right, at the last council meeting, information was requested about where junkyards can be placed, how that could happen. Will had went and found the information. So like there's auto wrecking yards, junkyards, recycling centers, salvage yards, and scrap processing yards are all under the same purview in our Unified Land Development Code. So here's the definition on page 100 and 101. Actually the 100 is description of like the land itself. 300 feet from a residential district. Operation shall be conducted entirely within a non-combustible building or within an area completely enclosed by a fence, all that stuff. And then your junkyard on 101, that's your definition. Went through and it looks like you can do a junkyard in C3, I1, and now that I read 300 feet from a residential district, we were thinking R3 because it includes I1, but with those words of resident, not in a residential district, R3 might be out of that. So that's just some wordplay you get to play with. So this information was requested based off of one of the properties that had junk in their yards. They might have been scrapping and stuff like that. Just to answer the question of if this would be, if they were to come and ask, would it be allowable, sort of thing.
No.
No, the answer is no. In their district, they would have to be in C3 or I1 to have a junkyard or scrapyard. Any questions on that? Seeing no questions. Also from the last meeting, a letter was presented to the council about the Girl Scouts, stating they didn't want to utilize the cabin, the Girl Scout cabin anymore. As a result, council requested information on both the buildings that were being utilized by the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Included is information on the current conditions of the facilities and a little history of how they came to be city properties. Will actually assemble this information as well. And pictures. Pictures, the Boy Scout cabin is first up on page 108. Built out of 2 railroad cars. Building a floor across the space in between. Siding is loose, off multiple spots. Cap concrete for the posts. On the porch has parts broken off. All around the outside of the foundation needs to be sealed up to make it easier to heat and keep the bugs out. There's some rotted wood around some of the windows. The doors on the lean-to on the back look like they need some work. The lean-to has a concrete floor in it. The hill starts to drop off right at the back of the lean-to. This has to be covered with concrete to stop it from eroding away under the building. On the inside, the floor between the 2 rail cars is lower than the rest. The sink in the kitchen's broke. We just put in a new furnace in September. We also replaced the water heater in 2021. Building was built right on the street easement. So you see the pictures of that building. And then on page 113, you can see right on Laramie Street easement is where the Boy Scout cabin sits. For the Girl Scout cabin, the property is in decent shape. This is some fascia boards are starting to rot and need some stucco on the foundation and a paint job. A couple of boards on the ramp are pulling up, so they need to be replaced. One of the windows on the front is cracked. They put tape on it to hold it together. On the inside, the floor starts to slope halfway into the room. Cindy found paperwork saying that this is 2 boxcars put together. Baseboard heaters, water heater, and kitchen stove are all electric in the building. Both of the doors need weather stripping replaced.
We converted all that over back in, I forget what year it was, my daughter was involved in it big time then, and they used to have gas, and they had a gas leak in it, and they converted it all over to electric at that point.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
So is there even Boy Scouts in, there's Boy
Yeah,
Scouts?
they still
in
use
there?
it.
Boy Scouts
Yep.
still use
They
theirs.
still use it.
They still use the Boy Scout cabin?
Yes.
But the Girl Scout cabin's in better shape than the Boy Scout cabin?
Right, but smaller.
Yeah, the smaller, yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing.
I've never been in the Boy Scout. Years ago, I was in the Girl Scout when my daughter was in Girl Scouts.
Yeah, you can see the difference in size. That's a pretty decent sized building for the Boy Scouts, and you see, I mean, it looks slightly smaller, but it's small.
Probably 50% smaller.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably half the size.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the reasons.
I didn't realize that parcel was so big, seeing it on that map, that's a.
Yeah, there's a lot of ground there.
We bought them in a sheriff's auction for $16.
So we'll go over the historical information. Marshall County Historical Society did some work. Diane, Boy Scout cabin started construction in 1937. It really had problems with finances and getting volunteers to help build it. The dedication was done in November of 1937. Girl Scout cabin in August of 1948. The community chest purchases a railroad building for the Girl Scout cabin. A foundation, heat, lights, and water will be installed. Then sometime later, date unknown, the Hillside School became the current Girl Scout cabin. Hillside School was for the mentally challenged kids. I wonder if they didn't share the building as commentary. I believe the mentally challenged kids were moved to Central School, then it became the Girl Scout building. Attached some pictures for historical reference.
Looked pretty good back then.
Yeah. So the picture of, first one's Boy Scouts. And then the very last page, well, not the very, very last page, but is the Girl Scouts. Yeah, they all look brand new in those pictures.
What's really impressive is you look at the Girl Scout cabin, you can see like the horizon behind it. There were no trees around.
Yeah.
That hill was bald, you can see across
that's
the river.
That's a lot of growth, yeah.
I think the irony too is, remember our intermodal container discussions and the box cars?
Right.
Yeah.
We own 2 buildings built out of box cars.
Yep.
Their grandfather, man, don't
Surprised they
worry.
let that happen.
So this is for your discussion, for your,
Do we
we
fix
now
them
have, yeah, right. We now have an unused building in the Girl Scout cabin and I don't know how often they meet in there, but the Boy Scout cabin's still used.
Once a week.
Once a week.
A
So,
lot of storage too.
yeah.
So if some community organization wanted to take on the Girl Scout cabin and give it a new life, they should come and make application to the city.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, that is correct. So yes, if there is an organization that wants to utilize or make use for somebody else and bring it back to life, then we're listening to those proposals as well.
So where do the Girl Scouts meet now if they're not using it?
They didn't tell us.
They just said they weren't gonna use it anymore. They always paid the electricity and stuff that in there, and then it was the North Central, or the North Region Planning Girl Scout thing said we're not gonna use it anymore, so we
They're
don't wanna pay the
probably
expenses
meeting in
anymore.
a house or meeting some public place. and
Right,
They don't have
I
to
mean,
pay
when
the
I was in Girl Scouts,
utilities.
we started there, but when we got older, we used a church basement.
Yeah,
So a
church
lot of
basement,
times if the leader is connected to.
Got connections, yeah. Yep.
But, so if you wanna discuss, if you wanna wait and see if there's gonna be offers out there because we're advertising it right now, to the world, then that's fine. Kick it to a committee is probably a good idea.
It's a shame that nobody's using them. But then again, or nobody's just gonna be using the Girl Scouts anymore since it's in the better shape. But, yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yep.
Not big enough for a daycare.
Not really.
I just saw a small
a
daycare.
small one.
Probably not legal enough either.
It probably needs some work.
Needs some work, but,
It's a heck of a lot.
yeah,
Could put a
that's
put a
true.
daycare on that lot.
I'm keeping
Oh,
back in
damn.
mind. It's a
Okay,
heck
yeah,
of a lot.
we could.
Good job, yes.
And it's not far from the elementary school.
No. Did you see Topeka just got $3 million for daycare?
I haven't seen that yet.
On the news tonight.
Yeah.
I'm wait and see on it right now.
Wait and see.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Yep. All right. That is all I had on my list.
Okay, standing committees. Anybody have anything on street?
Sander showed up.
Who did? What?
The sander.
Chip spreader.
Chip
Oh,
Chip
yeah, I saw
spreader.
it the other day, the new one driving
Yeah.
around.
The only thing I got is the new signs. Are we sure they're all in the right location?
Some
No.
are
One
inaccurate.
that's wrong.
Oh, no.
No,
Well,
I think one of them, he said at least one of them was mislabeled, so, he's obviously coming back for more signs.
Are all of them put up?
No, not even
No.
half, I don't think.
We still got the
supposed to
welcome
be-
sign, we still have the, organization sign, we still have the paddle signs that go on Broadway. So there's still work to be done.
So I mean, I think I remember when we started this, we only did a portion of the signs.
Right, but the majority, we did, pretty much all of them that would end up in the KDOT right away. Yeah.
So we won't have as much problems with the next round if we do that.
Yeah, there won't be a holdup of KDOT on the next round.
other than the kind of mislabeling, I've heard a lot of positive comments about them.
They're pretty.
Signs look nice, I just.
Very legible, but yeah, I caught that as well.
I took one
That's
and
not right.
if you follow it, you're not gonna make it. It's just not.
You go there and you find another clue.
Yeah.
It's a scavenger hunt.
Please stop at our local business for the next clue. That's how you get money. I mean,
Okay, anybody else have anything on street?
The Jayhawk Road,
Where we at on that?
it's been about 8
okay.
weeks since we talked
I've
about that.
organized with Don Bruna and Rob Rowdybush at Hall Brothers. Hall Brothers has the millings, and Don Bruna's got us on his schedule. He said in the next couple weeks he could go out and mix in the millings and get that taken care of. I've also kind of discussed, since we've gotten a little moisture, possibility of reshaping wherever he's doing the millings, and still discussion on that, but seeing if that was a possibility to help the road out a little bit more while he's got his equipment going.
I think we ought to, it was an experiment that we decided to try 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, I don't remember. I think we really need to push that
Right.
and show some forward progress.
Right.
So,
Anything else on street? Water, wastewater?
I suppose this is the spot. There's some dirt piles down, I think it's 14th and Oak, maybe, where we did some projects on the corner there, and there's some dirt piles.
15th and Oak, actually a street crew was there today.
Sweet.
Yes.
I had a person who received a letter in that neck of the woods, a cleanup letter that was like, why doesn't the city clean up their big pile of weeds on the corner? And I said, good question, I'll ask.
Well, I know, it's also there, but,
Yeah, I was gonna say, we do have a.
but we were down at 15th and Oak to clean up one of those, today.
There's a big
Okay.
pot 14 too, though.
Is it? Okay, I see
Yeah,
it was 14.
it's in the same,
Yeah, it's on the same water.
But, I mean, I understand that we've got lots of things going on, but some people that reads as hypocrisy, so I want to make sure we are on top of it.
Yep.
That's all.
Right. Anything else on water, wastewater? I have one, where we at on the engineering on that, storm drain that's collapsed? Do we have any update on where?
I don't have an
CS is?
update on that one. We're just getting, just going through the water. Obviously, that one's done. He just got done with the collapsed sanitary sewer. So I haven't gotten an update on where that storm sewer's at. But he was, they were asking Kent on, I think as late as last week, on how he thought, that should go. So they are working on it.
Because when it rained here a couple weeks ago, I drove down through there and it was pretty bad. I mean, I was in my truck, so I was all right, but if I
It was
was in
going
a
clear
car.
over the yellow line on the highway.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was pretty bad.
Yep.
And nice and wide too.
It's just bubbling out of that storm drain right there by Nordis and just shooting across the road. Anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec?
Yeah, something I brought up, I think, I don't know how many years ago now, 6 years ago maybe, about it'd be nice to have a sidewalk to Lakeview. And then we kind of got involved with a big, beautiful plan that nobody's got the appetite to spend that money, and I understand. That being said, I guess volunteering at Skyfest reminded me how nice it would be to have a sidewalk, and not just for something like that, but we have a pedestrian gate and just no good way to get people down from even the upper parking lot. I'd like to see a sidewalk getting from the rest of town to there, like along 20th would be wonderful. But even if for now we were to say do a sidewalk from that upper lot, kind of the north edge of where like the recycling trailers are, leading down through that pedestrian gate to where people go to watch ball games, and maybe as part of the same project, a small set of stairs, or probably better a ramp from the old UP dorm lot down to there. If that's not a big, massive, expensive, get everything done project, but just a way to get people more safely on these sloped areas and so they aren't walking in the road. Because I think we'll keep using it for ball games, we'll use it for other activities and events. I don't think it has to be a big, expensive project, but I'd like to see us look at getting those two pieces in. And I think if we do it kind of carefully, we can probably incorporate that into future projects without having to tear it back out. But frankly, I don't know that in the next 10 years we're going to drop $4 million or whatever.
I doubt it.
So in the interim, it'd be nice to have a safe way for people to walk through there.
I'm kind of hesitant on that hill from the dorm parking lot down. It seems kind of steep for a
It does.
sidewalk.
It's pretty steep for people to walk down it without one, though.
Yeah.
With rocks. But,
So, I mean,
no,
a ramp, if
yeah.
you cut over and went down the slope, I don't know, from north to south,
Zigzag or
probably,
something.
or you could switch back it, but, I mean, I think you could almost do a gentle enough sidewalk on the angle where you could probably get away with that, maybe even without handrails, although I don't know what the rules are on that now. Yeah.
That would take,
But
I would have to ask.
it'd be nice, it'd be something nice to have, because there's ball games that the people park up there, but just seeing all those people and seeing how people were struggling to walk down that rock road, and we do have, there's a gate there for Pete's sake. I don't know, and kids do ride their bikes to, play ball and things. It doesn't seem like it'd be a really big challenge, maybe a nice little improvement, and that's kind of where we've been doing is lots of little improvements. So, I don't know, I know some dirt work would have to be done because it is sloped, but that's something I think it'd be nice for us to look at.
Okay. It's okay. I could pull what Dave had drawn a few years back
He drew up
Sometime we had something.
for that sidewalk.
Right.
And for that side, I'd probably want to expand the gate, because the gate's like a 4-foot wide gate versus a 5-foot. But with that slope in consideration, I'd like CES to look at it.
Even if it wasn't separated and it was just along the curb line like some of our sidewalks are, just having a not in vehicle traffic, reasonably trip-free way for people to transit from one place to the other, I think
Okay.
would be good.
Okay. Let me see if I could get them to get a proposal.
But yeah, I remember
To see how
Dave's
much that
drawing,
costs, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
While you're looking at concrete up there, I know it's been brought up before about doing in front of the concession stand another 6 or 8 feet, so someone
have
in a
talked about
wheelchair could get around people that are in line for the concession stand.
That's a good idea.
I know that's been talked to here before too, and never went anywhere.
You could just form all these 3 places up and go to town.
Because it's 3 foot wide, and
discussed it
4
before,
foot
yeah.
wide in front of that concession stand window. If you're coming down in a wheelchair, you gotta have everybody move to get by.
It'd be good for people who aren't in wheelchairs too,
Yeah.
just, again, just a, trip-free way and.
I think next year we need to look at putting Wi-Fi up there so they can have cameras at the ball field, and then they'll be able to take credit cards too.
Yeah.
That is actually in their contract to provide if they want that.
Oh, it is?
Okay. So they could provide it anytime they wanted. They used to provide the phone service up there as well. So that's theirs to provide.
Only other thing I had at Dargett's Park, the basketball court, maybe a simple light. I know I've seen a lot of kids out there that enjoy going out there in the evening, shooting hoops, just a simple light.
There at all right now?
What was it? Austin. There was a light. I don't know what.
I've heard concerns about the light working or not working. I don't know that it always works, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it works all the time.
I've heard that as well.
One
thought
time
there
it
used to
was
be a light up
shining
there,
in
but it's
someone's
been-
house and they didn't like that, and then sometimes the kids break it off.
They
because
make lights
They do a lot of
that
breaking.
kinda-
Yeah,
in
maybe
that
we
park.
could go with an LED that has a little bit more direction to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice spot for the residents out there, for their kids to go. There might be an electrician that lives right close that would like to help with that project.
Technically aren't our parks, well, at least one of our parks is dawn to dusk.
Most of, that's how they want you in there, yes.
Okay.
That's what the police want you in there, dawn to
It's-
dusk,
I know what you're saying too.
so we don't get it.
Cause there's also complaints about drug deals going down there.
But having the
But-
light,
having the
having the light
yeah.
on is how we're gonna solve it.
Would help with the other flip side of things.
And a little lesson was taught by light pollution when we did the new field lights at the Legion. Because it's not near as lit up around there as what it used to be.
Right, it's all right there. Okay, right, that. Basketball.
And yes, there is an electrician that lives close by that would like to help with that project, so. And it's not me.
There is?
Oh yeah, there is. I know exactly who it is.
Anything else in Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire?
I don't
Admin
know
and
where this
Finance?
goes, but I have twice seen a UTV that has no flag and no tag on it, and I've seen them go up the highway.
Okay, we did look it up. There's no regulation for a flag.
I thought we,
We never passed that.
Thought we had, no, we
Never,
wrote, did
we went and looked at our code. There's
Us-
no regulation for a flag. That was gonna go on if we were gonna do golf carts and whatever, and that didn't ever pass.
Oh, I thought we
Yeah,
amended it.
There's no
Yep,
flag.
I agree.
Okay, I thought we amended it, I guess.
But up the highway.
yeah.
Because they can't be on the highway, you're
Yes.
right. That's
And
a
I saw them a
state law.
second time crossing at 15th Street, going south to 15th Street, but I have no clue who it is.
Well, just so you know, there's a lot of them that run the highway.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a
Going to
police
Orange
matter.
Lane and then see 'em going to CJ's.
This was going from down here, through the light, all the way up.
No different than it's no different than the golf carts that are using 20th Street to get to the golf course.
Hmm.
There are 3 of them up there.
Anything else on Police and Fire? Admin and Finance?
I don't know if this is where it'd go. I could bring it up in roundtable too, but I had, talked to the guys from Crown Over a little bit last week. They called kind of unhappy, obviously. They were here earlier. And the complaint form issue came up, and I thought, well, yeah, I mean, you can definitely file a complaint, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think having a template wouldn't be such a bad idea. It's kind of like what is your name, contact information, what is the problem as you see it, what is your proposed solution, so it's not.
We forgot we have these out front, and there's a box, it's a lockbox. It's a suggestion.
It's a suggestion, not a complaint, but.
It's a little small for, the complaints I have. I'm not sure I can fit them all in there, but.
But if you really
they've
have
got
a
it
complaint,
condensed.
you got a piece of paper, write it down.
No, that's great. There's some things I think are better formalized, and I think having a formalized structure like that, and you can structure it even so that it's available on the website in a way that it doesn't have to be anonymous. They have to give a valid email address. I mean, there's kind of ways to, and people can still end run that and be pretty anonymous, but you can also kind of, I don't want to say
Let me tell
disregard.
you, if somebody's got a complaint, come to me, let's talk it out.
Well, or
Bring
it-
it here, talk it out. If you got a complaint, you need your email, so we can respond back to you.
Right. And I'm all for that, like requiring some contact information so that you can it's not just, somebody making up a name and yelling into the wind something and you have got no way to address it. That's the point. I mean, hopefully people are using that in a way that they can address it. But I'm glad we have the suggestion cards. I honestly didn't know we even had those suggestion cards. But I even think it'd be nice to have a digital way. I mean, I'm sure everybody here gets emails and probably some from people who are obviously making up their contact information. And you can do with that
Making up
whatever
the
you want.
email address.
But I think it's a little bit of a transparency, good governance thing. I'd like to see us have that more formalized and even on the homepage of our website in such a way that we can.
I mean,
Address it.
there's the ability, on these buttons, so like when they want to talk to whoever's got an email on there, they can click that, but they have to actually, it sends them to their email to write an email to whoever. So we can create a comments, concerns button on there.
I think that'd be great. That's all.
That way they can write an email.
I think you already have it. It's request to be on the agenda and come and talk.
Which is what I advised him.
I agree. It'd be nice if we had lots of people come out and do that, but realistically, there's a lot of people, and a lot of them will have a valid complaint that just can't or won't or don't do that. It doesn't make their complaint any less valid. That's kind of the way I look at it.
But if we get if somebody has a complaint and they just want to and we can address it as a staff, then we should be able to address it as staff. They shouldn't have to go all the way to right there to go, I have a complaint, when we could have addressed it step one.
Which we do that a lot.
Well,
I mean,
right.
we do that a lot.
And I mean,
potholes and.
Without, I'll shoot you straight. A lot of people don't think the city hall's a friendly place. And I mean that during the day and I mean that now, but people just don't feel comfortable doing that. And so they'll bury their complaints inside or, not be all the wonderful community residents they could possibly be because they're frustrated with the situation with no outlet.
Right,
so
but
I'm all for us giving them more outlets.
That's where I'm saying that the email button would provide that ability for them to submit a complaint. Staff can see it and go, okay, we can address that, or no, we can't address that.
At the bottom of the city, it says questions or concerns. And that, they put their name, email, subject, and write a message and send it.
Yes, I've gotten those.
Who does that go to? Everyone? You?
Well,
Austin?
whatever. I mean, I
Deb
get 'em
gets
in.
them, I get them, Austin gets them.
So what's the process for responding to do you get a lot of those?
We get, most of them are questions like, how would I go about getting my sidewalk, help with my sidewalk? Or I have a pothole here, can it be fixed? Can I stay in the park? What is it, do you have openings in the park? What does it cost? We also have people that scream at us, yes.
So, and see, that's
what you wanna
the
know.
thing. To me, questions or concerns, and I'm on websites all day, every day, is more those kinds of, how do I get a hold of the guy to come turn my water on, or that kind of stuff. But like an official complaint form, I mean, I'm sure the police department has a complaint form as part of CALEA, for sure. I still think it'd be nice to have kind of an official complaint form, and without passing judgment on the merits of the taping of the door issue that the Crown Over guys brought up, without passing judgment on that complaint specifically, that would be kind of difficult to project into a questions or concerns box on a website, would it not? I mean, that feels like, really, this is where I have to go to present that? I don't know, having more of a formalized, they can attach PDFs and do whatever, seems like a way to go.
They knew how to get a hold of us because they caught a couple of us
Yeah, I
after the
know.
meeting last meeting. I mean,
Well, they,
so, I
actually,
mean,
what he did when he come in.
They were
he
down
a-
here.
he
They
asked,
called down
and
here.
he said, what should I do? And I said, you should type up something that you want me to present. And so that's why you got what you got. Now, if you want it to be a template, we can do that as well, asking certain questions so
Well,
that you guys get answers. But it depends, like Austin said, are we supposed to address them? Do you want two different forms? Do you want stuff that comes to council and stuff? Because there's a lot of stuff that we
don't-
actually
and we
do
don't
do.
want. That's what's, you said.
I mean, 'cause that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Right.
Not everything should come to council, I
Correct.
get that. I just like the formalized of, I mean, theirs was good, because you must have done a good job explaining it to them. Because it was, you know, the when, the where, the who,
Yeah.
what, all the W's, right? And they had pictures, and they had, everything was there. But I'm saying, it'd be, to my eye, more consistent for you not have to do that. Be like, here's the form, it tells you, asks for what the date is, what the problem is, who it involves. I mean, there's gotta be like a stock
Oh, yeah,
complaint
we can look
form
at the one that Kalia has.
template, right. And I just think that would be nice, even if it gets lightly used, I think it's reassuring to me to know it exists, sort of thing.
Yeah, we can.
But that's, I mean, that's not majority opinion, that's fine, it's just my opinion. I'm not looking to put more work on anybody, actually less, because then there'd be less back and forth. And you wouldn't be, you know, 1 minute telling somebody how to get a hold of Will to come inspect something, and the next minute, you know, somebody's yelling at you. I mean, it seems to me like those are two different projects. One would like to believe.
You would like to believe, okay.
That's all.
Okay. I guess this is a good place to bring it up as any. They're gonna have a meeting Thursday with, Chamber Main Street Convention Tourism. And I think they're gonna have 2 people from each group, kind of to start the process of finding a permanent tourism director. And the city, they wanted the city to have some representation too. Who do you want that to be? Because I got kind of designated. I'll do it if you want me to. Whatever council wants. I don't know if you want to designate a couple council members to be part of that discussion, or what. Well, I think this is just early on in the process. I mean, because we've still got to work out the formal contract and a lot of the details, but I think this is just early discussion, I think is what it is. But I don't know if you want if you want to designate a couple of yourselves for it, so you got like 2 people on there from the council, or
So are you going?
if you want me to, I will. I just wanted to run by council so you didn't say, well, who authorized him to decide what we're doing.
I can't go this Thursday, and 8 AM meetings are hard to make.
No, 8 a.m.
It's 8 AM at the Art
Yeah,
Center.
that's the problem, it's during their workday, which works for them, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it doesn't work for us.
I can probably go.
I think Kyle and
Yeah, those two.
Yeah.
I don't hear them objecting.
That'll work.
Yeah, both of those, their jobs would just allow that.
I know.
For now, mine will. Lack a job.
I'm fine with you.
I'm just asking. I mean, admin and finances, who's been, handling the discussions so far,
So
so.
preliminary
I
at
know.
this point anyway. I don't,
Yeah,
Okay.
Go for it.
yeah.
Okay, I will go to the
Good
meeting.
man.
All right. That's all I had. Anything else on admin and finance then? Okay. Oh, we do have one appointment, for convention and tourism. Ty Warren, to replace Wayne Cruzy that stepped down.
Move to approve the mayor's appointment.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Do we have any You have anything for us, John?
No
Any updates
executive
or anything?
session request, but I am working on this, junk nuisance vehicle.
Okay. That's what I was gonna ask you.
I,
Okay, anything else on that?
I kept going back over, I think you have the authority right now to sell a vehicle that's been towed away. I think we need to implement a policy, a procedure of how to, do it. I think the ordinance should clarify, one, a service of process. I think I talked about it one time where the mail, certified mail is not that reliable. And also about, dealing with minimum bids or no bid situation.
Okay.
You put it for auction and nobody bids on it, well, it's the city's property. They take abandoned vehicles, affidavit up, get title, and then scrap it at the junkyard.
How do you get the title for it though? Because when you take a car to the junkyard now, you gotta have the title.
The procedure would be simply as, well, there's some notice and mail and publication. They get an order from this body to sell the property at public auction.
Right.
It's published, it's served, it goes out for auction. The winner, you fill the city fills this affidavit in, they take it up to the treasurer.
It's basically considered abandoned.
Right.
Okay.
Can you write that ordinance?
No, it's,
Minor tweak, it's really policy. I think once you seize a vehicle, they should turn around and immediately ask for an order to sell the vehicle. Minimize your storage cost. Now, the tow truck company may want to bid, they may not want to bid, but basically you're going to subsidize them and pay them their bill. Because when it goes up for auction, it's supposed to cover the storage cost, the towing cost, the publication cost. With that, in reality, will that happen? It's more like an unsafe property. I mean, I think when
Yeah, that's the main thing.
they get them off their lot at least, but the city would be subsidizing it through enacting this procedure. I think that's kind of hold up from the other cities. And then I think the code itself, let's say the owner comes in and bids on it, well, they don't get an affidavit until they show it's got insurance, it can operate. So they're in a rock and a hard place.
so you got a recommendation on the policy?
No, not really. I'll dress up it's not gonna be very big. I think if you make it too complicated, it won't work. I think that's what the nuances are, no bid situation, but simpler the better. I think that can be followed.
Okay.
If it gets too complicated, it'll thwart any efforts to bring it up.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
That's about it on that.
Okay. Roundtable, I guess. Todd?
Nope.
Jeff?
No.
No.
Keith? Nope. Parker?
Mm-mm.
Lee? Kevin?
Yes, I do.
I know you got something.
Yes, I do.
Yes?
The gentleman at 205 Calhoun,
Okay.
tearing the roof off of this house that we've
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
And the wood shingles are coming off the roof and going to the backyard and being burned in.
Oh, and he's burning again. Yeah, well, it's somebody likes to do. man.
At 2 in the morning.
Yep. Yep. They'll probably be burning for, last time it was like a
You know,
month
right now,
of
he only
burning,
has a
so.
little section of the front roof off.
Okay.
Well, we gave him, what, was it a 90-day extension or whatever,
September.
something?
Whatever.
He promised.
That you wouldn't burn?
Said he was done, but.
I mean, they're wooden shingles, but.
It's supposed to be
Oh,
yard
it's
waste.
supposed to be
It
yard
has to be
waste,
yard
not.
waste.
Yeah, that's construction.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
construction
construction.
debris.
You could burn wood, but you gotta get permission from the.
He ain't even getting permission.
No.
He never has, no, he never
I
has.
checked, he didn't make no phone call.
Or put a fire pit in.
Well, for
Yeah,
what,
you
he
still
had
have to-
he had a hole dug there, I don't know if he still
There's
does.
a dryer tumbler out there now.
Hey, that works, hey,
Hey,
it's a burn barrel.
you gotta remember, they sell galvanized rings as a fire pit at local
Yeah,
stores,
yeah.
so be careful what you say. His is probably better than what they're selling.
But he's had like 3 or 4 of these fires so far.
I know, and he'll be burning every time that he tears something off there till he's done, probably start burning shingles and whatever else too.
Can you not issue a citation?
Yes, that's
that's what
what,
we
that's the
need to do.
next
We need to
step.
Well, I
do.
think that's where you've been pushed to. Let's say not to do it. It's
That's why I confronted him right
He's-
here.
stood right here and said he wouldn't do it.
Then he did.
Well, he didn't say, he said he was done.
He said he was done.
But he wasn't, he hadn't started roofing yet.
Yeah, he hadn't started roofing.
That could have been for the day.
Yeah, there you go. Wasn't
So-
specific.
Huh?
He wasn't specific.
That's true.
It was done that day. The sticks,
Still.
brush was burned.
Like I said, I don't know what we
Well.
need to do with it. It was brought up to me by 3 people down there, and I thought, I'll just bring it here.
Aaron, go
Hey.
again.
2 in the morning, you say?
2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're
well,
not busy
I
that,
hate you.
during
Huh?
I hate you.
All right.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
I don't have anything.
Well, I know if I go down there, I'm not taking a little bit. I'm taking a lot. All 3,500 gallons.
What it all.
Grass will look nice and green after
There you
that.
go.
I don't care. It will.
Somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?